Hello, everybody. Start the SDR. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Rob, for the audio check. Much appreciated. I'm going to check this out here. This is okay. Check the email. Jobs here. Okay. That is okay. I'm going to take the little. There we go. I think I'm going to leave it like that. It looks good like that. And the time and everything. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Welcome aboard. We'll have a little sad news that I got this morning, actually. We're going to mention that. The passing of one of the viewers of our channel and our live shows. So we're going to talk about that, unfortunately. Apart from that, everything's right here. Everything's okay here. And yeah, looks good. So, hey, everyone, welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave radio live show. We are live every Saturday at we are here every Saturday at 20 hours Universal Time. We talk about radio and we just have fun with radio. And this is the place where our geeks in the radio world all gather and have fun as we talk about what's happening. And we talk about radio itself. So it's pretty cool. My name is Gilles, and I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. We are live on Saturday at 20 UTC. Somebody asked me about, will I get back on 2 shows a week? We'll wait until the new year, and we'll see after the new year. If I do a second show, I think what I'm going to do is instead of doing a show here for two times a week, I might trade off and do a show here once a week, but a show on the V2 Zulu India amateur radio channel that I really need to do something with. And it actually is something that I have to do fast because it's dormant pretty much. It's losing the views a lot. And what happens, it's getting close to the threshold where they stop monetization because you're below a certain level. So I'd like to try to keep that running so that it doesn't go below that level. And as even if it doesn't do a lot of money, if at least it's still monetized. So if I come back to 2 shows, I think that's going to be the thing. It's going to be 1 show here and 1 show on the amateur radio channel. And on the amateur radio channel, we'll do all sorts of things, live contacts, all sorts of things. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that, having maybe doing some live contacts, seeing amateur radio in action, doing something. So I think this might be interesting for a lot of you that are amateur radio operators. Maybe it's going to bring some of you into the amateur radio operating world. I see a lot of people that are like, well, I'm not sure I really want to go there, or there's more to, like, you can't base your I want or don't want to be an AM radio operator based on what you hear on the ham bands, because it can be easy to kind of not really be there and be like, it's kind of boring. I don't know. I don't want to do that. Well, even if it's just going to get your license, at least to have it. So, anyways, nice to have everyone here. There's a beautiful chat room with wonderful people that are great. I think this, we can say, is one of the best groups ever. I mean, polite and helpful, and everybody feels welcome. Whether you're new to the hobby, whether you've been in the hobby for 40 years, everybody's welcome. And this is the cool thing about this. And we have a Facebook group, which is equally cool and equally fun because people are respectful and share. It's a very active group. We're almost at 3,000 people in the Facebook group. And here in early 2023, we're going to have a milestone somewhere because we're almost at 40,000 subscribers, which is pretty good for a shortwave channel, honestly. So we're going to check that out. Of course, 40,000 subscribers is a hell of a lot of people for, radio, honestly. And who says nobody's listening to the radio and nobody's out there listening to the radio? There is 40,000 people interested in my radio channel. I think that shows that there's a lot of people that definitely are interested. So let's start with. I'll wait a little bit. I'll give the bad news in 5-10 minutes. I'm going to say hi to a few people before, and go through the chat a little bit. I'm gonna wait till the number of people kind of levels off to the high level, so that everybody will hear about it. So greetings to Matt, MDK2 in Denver, Colorado. Richard Wagner, nice to have you on board. 28 Fahrenheit in Northeast Illinois. Here it's I don't know what temperature is it right now. +6 Celsius, so we're like in the 40s or low 40s. So nice to have you on board. We have Master Players Radio and Television Plus Gaming. Nice to have you here from Morgan City, Louisiana, WA5107 SWL. Dirk Boone, nice to have you on board. Says he saved me $100 for your assault on the deep SDR. Well, that's what the channel is all about. Actually, somebody was telling me, why do you buy the crappy radios? And it's because one of the things of the channel is that I don't, it's not just a channel where I'm going to buy $1,000 radio and review it. It's a radio channel in general. Some people might be tempted to buy something that's inexpensive. So yeah, let me buy it and test it and tell you it's crappy or not, so that you don't waste your money on it. Let me waste my money on it. I love having the crappy radios and the stuff. We're going to talk a little bit, talking about cheap radios or inexpensive radios. Talk about this, which somebody mentioned, and it's true that it does look like a mini super radio in a way. And it's an audio crazy radio. It's the first time I see this brand, and I saw it on Amazon, AM FM shortwave, and it was something like 30 or 40% off for the Black Friday deals or something. So I thought, well, let's check it out. It's quite heavy because it uses two D batteries. So it makes this thing kind of heavy for the size. And I haven't tested much, but it seems to receive. Anyways, we'll have videos on that in the next few days for sure. What else do we have? So Richard Wagner says, what is a good SDR portable? ATS-25, Belka, Malahit, anyone have an idea? Well, the ATS-25, first of all, is not an SDR. It's a DSP-based receiver. The only real portable SDR that I think is worth checking out is the official Russian Malahit receiver. But that's pretty much the only one that could maybe be put in a category of, well, yeah, it's not too bad. The Chinese one that I have, which is called the DSP SDR, is not that bad, but overloads a lot. But it's definitely a step ahead of the deep SDR that I have. It's a tough one to go by. What else do we have? Is it any better than a PL990 or 501? Actually, it's a different radio. It's not better in any way in reception sensitivity and anything. You won't receive on that what you don't what you get on the SDR, portable SDR. Whatever you receive there, you're going to get there. But there are a few things like there's that noise reduction thing that does help in certain circumstances that might bring a signal to a level that a better audio quality if you want than the standard portables like the PL990 and so on. But don't think about it as miracle radios. And it's the fact that it's an SDR, also the fact that there's a screen and there's you could see the waterfall and everything and see signals that things that you don't have on the Texan PL990 501. Definitely. So I think it's more of wanting to have something that is different than maybe thinking of it's better or not. An SDR is an SDR. It's different type of radio in its own way. It's like using an SDR on a PC instead of a standard, desktop or portable. What else do we have? Rob, nice to have you here in Phoenix, Arizona. We have Richard Weiner says, I know it doesn't have all of that. Just wondering about performance. Like I said, performance-wise, it's not better than a standard portable like a Texan PL990. It's for the real SDR, like the Malahite. The where it's different is mostly because of, like I said, you have the visible waterfall that's on a small screen, and some of the features like the noise reduction system. But for the rest, it's a radio and it receives the same signals. It depends what you're looking for, actually, because they're kind of two different markets, honestly. Richard Weiner says, got a PL330. It's impressive. It could be great if they put a USB for recording playback. What else do we have? We have Robert Cross. Nice to have you here. David Miller. Nice to have you here from Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Vieno Marcel. Nice to have you here. And says 11 meter FM. Wide open. Good DX. I actually did a few single sideband contacts on 10 meters an hour and a half ago. Had a couple of stations. I contacted Brazil, Argentina, and I had what was it? I had a European station that I voiced SSB, which was a lot of fun. After doing a lot of FT8, kind of found it cool to call CQ again with voice. It was kind of fun to be in the pileup and get to the stations and talk to somebody. So Anthony France, nice to have you on board. We have RJD Dakota, nice to have you here. Fred Waterer, salutations, nice to have you here. We have Jeff King in Jacksonville, Florida, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? We have Brad Shaver. Nice to have you here from North Illinois. We have Randall Klons. Nice to have you here from Northeast Illinois. Fred Water says it's windy in Niagara, Canada. So it's pretty windy here too. And we're having like periods of rain. Jetcrafter, nice to have you on board from Southern Maine. Ricky, nice to have you on board, my friend, from Alberta. Nice to have you on board. And what else do we have? So Jetcrafter here, tuning from rainy Southern Maine. We have RJ Dakota, which is checking in. W80113 is WL. DJW883, nice to have you on board. You just made me realize that I have an email from you that I forgot to answer back. I'm going to take care of that later today. Keegan, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. Flame Garden, nice to have you on board. Corn Patch DX, nice to have you here from Iowa. We have live from Seattle, WWV on 20, booming today. I got it on 25 right now here. on the H501X on the MLE30. And what do we have? Roberto Rojas, nice to have you here. Almesan, nice to have you here. Ohio, hearing WWV 25 also. We have Sal Domingo, nice to have you here. KM4PPV. Yeah, you guys are gonna be sad when I tell you the name of who passed away. Uncle Justin, KB2RMC, Western New York State. Nice to have you here. 000, KD2ANN in New Jersey. We have 000, Others Out of Crafter's Kitchen. Nice to have you here. Spend the week setting up amazing thrift store Infinity speakers and vintage Technics turntable. Cool. Recep Balta, nice to have you here from Turkey. TA2R IRB. Nice to have you here, my friend, from Turkey. Welcome aboard. Sheldon Harvey from a far, far, far away place called Greenfield Park, just southeast of Quebec. And we have, what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? I lost my spot here. Sorry, guys. Sometimes it jumps when it actually refreshes the chat room. Sometimes I lose my spot. So here we go. We have Brad Shaver. Nice to have you here. We have Cornbash DX says is KB0NMQ, but I have not been on the air in 2 months. Ham Shack is under construction. Cool. Nice to have a cool place, a well-built shack to do amateur radio. It's always fun. I'm stuck in the kitchen, and I'm having fun with the radio, but in another way, I'm like, yeah, it'd be fun to have my little AM radio spot. So I don't know. I'm checking how I could, I'm not sure I want to bring such a long coax from the back to the office here in front. Having an antenna up front is kind of a very difficult to impossible task. So I don't know exactly how I could set up I thought of doing one thing, maybe setting it up as a official amateur post. I would be able to do that, but do it in the bedroom. Do a little corner in the bedroom with amateur radio. That could be a possibility because it gives me easy access to the antenna in the back, since the bedroom here is in the back. So I don't know. We're gonna see. One thing for sure is, I had an example this week. I had some people over, had to take everything out of the kitchen table because we for eating supper and everything. Was like, yeah, it ain't fun to have to take everything out to put it back when you want to do AM radio stuff. I want to have some kind of permanent installation for sure. Cheers, everybody. Vodka and cranberry. Hunters Out of Crafter's Kitchen. This is the best group ever and the only friendly Facebook group there is. Ricky has 20,000 kilohertz WWV, booming signal PL990, just on the whip. Carol, W7, WXV, nice to have you on board from Central Oregon. It is Skywarn Recognition Day. Oh, cool. Sheldon Harvey, 40,000 subscribers. I know a couple of guys who think there are no shortwave radios out there. I don't have to mention any names. Wonder who we're talking about here. Craig, W9CFW, what's the name of your other channel? If you just go to youtube.com/@ VE2ZZI, Victor Echo 2 Zulu India, is going to bring you to the amateur channel. I want to activate that in a way and do some AM radio stuff there. And I'm not the top expert in amateur radio. A lot of you guys are, because you've been hams for a long time. But we're gonna get we learn as we go through. Even here, I learn stuff as I was doing videos and doing live shows. So, we learn all the time. Richard Edge, VE7RXC. Nice to have you here from Chile, British Columbia. Multitasking, watching this and the World Cup at the same time. Keegan DX, nice to have you here. Andy New, nice to have you here from the UK. M7CUN. Facebook is the official SWL channel. Same name as the channel here, actually. Anthony France just received his Texan PL990X yesterday. Already in love. Cool. What else do we have? Mickey Delmage, good afternoon. Nice to have you on board. Long time no see. Jeff King says the live chat just started over on my end. Something isn't right. Art Don, nice to have you here. Art K2ADC in New Jersey. Nice to have you here. Michael, nice to have you here from northern New Jersey. And it's raining, apparently. Ricky says it's -4 in Calgary. You guys are in a deep freeze, pretty much. You got some really cold weather in the past week. 0-100, don't just judge a book by its cover. It goes for radio. Absolutely. It goes for everything in life, actually. Anthony France, 77 and sunny in Florida today. That's perfect for radio outdoors. Well, I'll be doing a Christmas Eve live show, Sheldon asks. So Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve both fall on a Saturday where I do live shows. I have not decided yet which one I will do. It could be fun to do a Christmas Eve show. I know a lot of people will be doing other things with family and friends. I know a lot of you maybe are not doing anything. There could be some fun in doing a Christmas Eve show, honestly. I'm thinking about it. I thought before to do maybe a New Year's Eve, but the more I think about it, and I'm not doing anything on Christmas Eve, the more I think about it, the more I'm in the mode of, well, maybe Christmas Eve would be the best time to do a live show. Any of you guys will be there for Christmas Eve live show if I do one? Santa might show up. He's busy that night, but I got good contacts, and apparently I can have him appear on the show, possibly. RWC, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Try to go down here. Greg, nice to have you on board from Southern Illinois. What else do we have? Ron in Florida. South Domingo says, that's awesome, Joe, getting those contacts. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's fun. And it's fun in SSB, honestly. Doing SSB contacts voice today was fun. It showed me, I miss doing real voice contacts rather than just FT8. South Domingo is from Kentucky. I'm not missing much, by the way, to get my 50 states. I'm missing Montana and the funniest thing is a couple of very close states like Massachusetts. I have contacts. I made contacts. They just have not confirmed them. So without an official confirmation and QRZ, I can't, it doesn't work. I got Alaska last week, which is cool. I'm missing Hawaii, and I'm missing a couple of the eastern states. But Montana is the one that it's missing in the West. Catalin, nice to have you here from Germany. RWC says, got a foot of sunshine. That's good. KW1161, nice to have you here from Tucson, Arizona. RGA Dakota getting something on 25695 sounds like a walkie-talkie. It's possible that it's out of band CBers or something. Richard Wagner, 20 megahertz MLA30, killing long wire. Michael, what was the last good analog shortwave radio made? Brand or year or both? Um, there because the Texan PL990X and H501X are actually analog. But I mean, if you mean analog with a needle, do you mean like really analog with a needle and a dial? That would be a good one. I don't know. I'm trying to think what could be one of the last good ones that were made. Uncle Justin, really enjoy AM mode on 6 meters, and now looking at 40 meters AM. You and I are about 150 mile apart. Would love to try and work you someday around 7290. Well, yeah, we let's set it up at 150 miles on 40 meters. I think it's a. I think we could make it. I think we could make it. Even though the FTDX10 maxes out its power for AM at 25 watts, which is what a lot of transceivers do, I think that is not impossible. Personally, John Santucci, nice to have you here. But yeah, you know what? The best thing to do is maybe like send me an email or something at officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com. And we try to set up a moment where we can maybe be both available and try it out. Dirk Boone, good to see the Ethon 750 behind you. I have a Texan Brandon one. It is a good radio as its specific uses. Don Royal, nice to have you here. WA7330SWL, nice to have you on board in Arizona. We have Kathleen says last weekend, great ham meeting. I've been seeing a lot of people. Last one was in 2019. That's cool. Chris 66, nice to have you on board from Kentucky. Robert Cross fixing radios like he always does. That's cool. Meta Lunar, nice to have you here. For medium wave stations, do they switch over to their nighttime power levels at exactly sundown, or do they have a required time when they have to switch over depending on season? It's not necessarily at sundown precisely. There's a level there where there could be for a while on their daytime power as nightfall goes. But yes, there is a time frame where they are absolutely required at some point to do the switch. But it's not necessarily at sundown precisely, because they'd have to adjust that every like a couple of minutes every day of the year, for sure. Matt says, I would not be here for a Christmas Eve live show, just in case you're talking hand count. Yeah, just for the fun of it. I'm, checking it out. Flame Garden, yes, Christmas Eve live show. Greg, yes, I'll watch. Neil, nice to have you here from UK. Philip, nice to have you on board. G0 PVK. Texan 990X, best package portable. Pretty good. Matt says nearby states are always hard to make except on low bands or if they have small populations. Yeah, the worst part is I actually made at least 25 contacts on 160 meters, hoping maybe I can get some of those states that are just close by. And I made quite a few on 80 also. I made at least I'm probably close to 100 on 80. The biggest problem is most of them I've had a contact. I just don't have a confirmation. They didn't come back and confirm that we did have a contact. Flame Garden, gonna get my technician license as soon as possible and set up. I am in Massachusetts. Cool. John Santucci, cold, rainy here in Tucson, Arizona. K7XRT. I need to start remembering all your calls, because when I see them appear or I hear somebody call, you never know if it could be somebody that is watching my live shows. Mr. C's Garage, nice to have you here from California. BW Bacon, Drake R8B for that needle. What else do we have? So, yeah, we're gonna just go quickly here. I'm almost down, so I'm almost at the end. We're gonna talk about who passed away. I'm actually gonna read an email. Yeah, this week there's a lot of geomagnetic storming, and that was something. Richard Wagner, Christmas Eve, be there, be square. Christopher, have a great Christmas from Christopher. And thank you for the great show. As always, you do a great job holding on to the great hobby. Thank you so much. What else do we have? Chris, great Deep SDR 101 review. Thank you. Matt, what are you using for QSL confirmations? Actually, right now I'm just set up on QRZ. I went to the logbook of the world thing. I need to set up there. For some reason, the logbook of the world, I went there a couple of months ago, and something kind of stumped my inscription. There's something that wasn't right, and it didn't want to accept my inscription in some way. I don't know why. I need to check that out because I know everybody's there. I know that everybody's there. So, anyways, I'm gonna check that out. RJ Dakota, one of our medium wave stations, might be moving in frequency from 850 to 1380. Station KFUO. Been on 850 in all my life, but now moving or maybe vanishing. Wow. What else do we have? Yeah, that's what I think. The logbook of the world is the most used, probably. So I'm going to check that out. QRZ is, I've got about 50% confirmation right now. The rate of confirmation is like 50%. So I'm going to check that out. So I'm going to take a pause here, and I'm going to read a little email. So guys, get your tissues if you are if because you're going to start crying. It's actually a nice little email. So email comes from somebody called Sophia, and Sophia is the daughter of Elizabeth in Regina, Saskatchewan. You know, guys, we talked about how she disappeared suddenly and wasn't here for a long time. I wondered what happened. So she says, "Hello there. My name is Sophia. I am Elizabeth's daughter. She was always watching your live shows and wanted me to pass on this message. First of all, I want to tell you that she has been sick for the past month and a half and in the hospital. Came back home 2 weeks ago and has passed away peacefully. She was a big fan of your live shows. And when I was taking care of her on the Saturday, she always wanted me to put on the show on her computer, as in the last few weeks, she couldn't do anything on her own anymore. She says she loves deeply radio. She was a radio fan. I have to say, one day when you had your live show and you were talking about how people don't understand radio, I am one of those. I never understood why my mom loved that so much. She said listening to static was annoying to me, but I could see she was so happy tuning the bands and listening to the world. And the last year, she was a big fan of watching your live shows and did not want to miss a single minute. Even when she was sick, she was always watching in bed. She wanted me to pass a message to you and your audience. She says, "Thank you for all of these hours where you took my mind off of my uh, health problems. And I wanted to thank everybody for being the sweetest gang I've ever met, even though it's virtual and even though I was not participating in the chat room. You were my friends, and I had friends from all over the world thanks to your channel and thanks to what you do. Thank you also for giving me the flame to tune the bands even more, as sometimes, as you as you mentioned in the past, we do get bored or sometimes do not know what to tune around. And you actually were giving us ideas. You were giving me New signals I had never heard before. You are the one that made me tune a Russian number station for the first time in my life. I was so excited to hear, even though it was just Morse code, I was so happy to hear that signal on my Kenwood R5000 receiver. I want to thank you for all that you do. Please continue. You have a lot of people out there that love what you do. And I really want to say thank you, everyone, for welcoming me in such a wonderful group, Elizabeth. And so she passed away on, I think she tells me here, she passed away on November the 27th in at her home. And so may she DX the world beyond. And thank you, Sophia, for that email. Um, it's sad to see that somebody that was part of our group has passed away, unfortunately. And it's sad, but let's remember that she had a lot of fun. And if I got over the years a lot of messages from people saying how in with health problems or any type of other some people or disabilities writing me and letting me know that what I do here is so important because it gives them a place to be. It gives them a place where you're among friends and love the same thing. We all love radio, and that it's essential for this to continue. So cheers, Elizabeth, wherever you are, and hope there's good propagation and good reception over there. Cheers. So we lost somebody dear to our live shows here. What else do we have? Okay, let me continue here. Al, nice to have you here from Seacliff, New York. Good day to listen to the radio. Yep, with the rain, wind, perfect. Actually, the sky out there right now, the colors of the sky, I was just looking outdoor, looks like it literally looks like when in the Wizard of Oz when the tornado hits and the sky is like real dark and she's searching for her dog. It's like it almost looks like that right now. It's like, okay. Um if a witch appears, I don't know why. Lex 2006, Christmas Eve I would be there. Matt says, Elizabeth is gone. Yep. King and the Xer, sorry to hear that. Rob, very sad to hear this. Sal Domingo, so sad to hear. Brad Shaver, God bless her. RJ Dakota 770 is WEW and is the oldest station in St. Louis. Just a shame because of what it was versus what it is now. So many stations, AM stations are a shadow of what they used to be in the past, unfortunately. Michael, God bless. Sal Domingo says, well, that's so sweet. Rob says, Elizabeth will also be in our hearts and have a special place here. DJW, so sorry to hear. Ricky, may you rest in peace, Elizabeth. Artist Out of Crafter's Kitchen says, oh, this is so sad. Elizabeth was so beloved in this group. What a nice email from her daughter. She will be missed. Flame Garden, bless Elizabeth and helpers everywhere. VE2FGJ, nice to have you on board. Says, this is Chaching. Thanks for sharing with us. You do a great job. Thank you so much. KW1161, may Elizabeth rest in peace and condolences to the family. Anthony France, rest in peace, Elizabeth. Nice to have known you. Yep. Rob says, thank you for letting us know. Keegan DXer, may Elizabeth rest in peace. Masters Plays Radio and Television Plus Gaming, rest in peace, Elizabeth. BW Bacon says, what a beautiful sentiment from Elizabeth. You are carrying the radio torch, Jill. Thank you for what you're doing. And 7BWB. Robert Cross, very sorry. This is there anything I could do, Jill? Zen Faros, raise my glass to Elizabeth and condolences to her loved ones. Matt says it's terrific that you were able to give her some light during a difficult time. Let's not be sad that she's gone, but glad that she was here. Definitely, definitely. And it's sad to have somebody go, but to know that you are someone that is there to help in the difficult times, it makes you feel good. Rob says, cheers, Elizabeth. BT Radio, Paul, nice to have you on board. AA1SU checking in from Northern Vermont. Sorry to hear about Elizabeth. Was she the one that often sent email questions? She often sent email questions. She was blind. She used the Kenwood R5000, and she had the optional voice synthesizer board on it so that she could actually hear the frequency she was tuned to. And so, she sent me an email once just to let me know, maybe a year and a half ago or something, where she was explaining to me how she made a system and how she had printed little braille numbers, so that when she would touch where the keypad is on the Kenwood, she was able to know what number she was on, and things like that. She really kind of turned the radio into a radio that was usable for somebody that was blind, and it was really amazing what she did. And she had help from people that knew radio around her for setting up a wire antenna. And if you guys remember, a year and a half, 2 years ago, or Kenwood R5000 was starting to have issues. She finally found somebody that could have it fixed and recapped and everything. She got it back. We're so happy to have it working in good condition again. So it's really was really, really amazing how she would, with her disability, still be able to function as normal as possible. I say watch the show and just listen to the show, obviously, because sometimes you don't think about it. It's like, well, she loved to watch your show and she loved to listen to the show, which would be the proper wording, I would guess, rather than watch the show. What else do we have? Uncle Justin, rest well. Elizabeth, condolences to family, friends. 0 says cheers. RJ Dakota, it's never good to hear about that. It's a very great loss. God bless our little community and love to Elizabeth. Yep. John says, rest in peace, Elizabeth. Rest in peace. San Domingo, that's powerful, Jill, and thank you for letting us know. Rob Santry says, thank you, Sophia, for sharing. What a blessing your reading of Elizabeth's message is to all of us. Rest in peace. Bonjour, TVDXer. J'espère que tu vas bien. Oui, ça va bien. Fred Waterer, no place like home. Yep. Canadian Radio TV guy. Nice to have you here. Rest in peace, Elizabeth. In her email, I remember once, because she's always said Regina, but from what I understood, it was a small town outside of Regina. She just always said Regina because it's the city everybody knows in Saskatchewan. What else do we have? Scott KC2CAD. Nice to have you all on board from Nart, Boston, New York. Robert Cross, I'm crying very hard. Eric, SWL channel. When you finish doing Auto Station, will you send it to me? When you finish doing what? I don't get the question. Sea Sparrow, nice to have you on board. Says just received his 501X 2 days ago. and I'm still on the fence. Jetcrafter, thank you, Sophia, for the beautiful email letting us know about your mom. May she rest in peace. Condolences to you and your family. Rob says, that is incredible how Elizabeth transformed her radio, such passion. Yep. Sea Sparrow says, I need to set up an external antenna to pick up anything. You do need external antenna probably to, if you have a lot of noise inside your home, in order to get a good radio to perform well, you need an external antenna possibly. What else do we have? What else do you have? What else we have? What else do we have? Okay, Brad, share another of people who are in chat room. Give a like. Robert Cross, very upset. She must have been good with radios. She listened for a long time. And the email that she had sent me, it was a very lengthy email. I remember, and I probably have it somewhere. I should maybe try to find it in my folders, and read it. I'll try to find it and read it to you guys. She started listening to the radio with her dad. I know that she wasn't blind from she wasn't born blind. She lost her vision due to a hereditary disease, and so slowly she was becoming more and more blind. And that actually, she was telling me, I remember in the email, that as she lost her vision gradually, she became closer and closer to radio because it conferred. It was her comfort and her comfort and her kind of the thing that she could do. You know, she couldn't watch TV anymore, obviously. So listening to the radio was the thing, and she got closer and closer to radio as she was getting blind over the years. In her email, she mentions how radio was a great comfort to her all of her life, and she actually worked in Regina in a center, a specialized center, help others that are blind or that will be eventually blind or so on, and try to help them cope with, losing a vision. And she did that for most of her life. And so she, definitely sounds like a great person, honestly, a great person. So what else do we have? Brett Wayne, God bless Elizabeth. Yep. Stephen Hayes, nice to have you on board. G0STE. Dwayne, we were better people for knowing Elizabeth. No, I don't stream, Eric. I don't stream the buzzer, really. Lex 2006, rest in peace, Elizabeth. Yeah, but in a valley, shortwave signals, even in a valley, shortwave signals should not be that difficult to receive. I bet that the biggest problem you probably have is a lot of noise around you. So that might be making it more of a problem for you. I think you should get an MLE 30 maybe. Do I really have a stream for 1 year? I don't get the question. I've been doing these live shows for a long time. Philip. Yeah, like Philip says, MLE 30, I think, is your best bet, honestly. It's definitely your best bet. Greg, nice to have you on board. And we'll say hi to Paul the Cat and his girlfriend, Greg. No problem. PhilTube, love your channel, love radio. Cool. Sheldon Harvey, the Montreal Association for the Blind has an amateur radio station in their facility. and have given amateur radio courses to visually impaired people. Yeah, at what isn't that at Concordia University or something? I've heard of that. I've heard of that before, and she seemed to be, very good at adapting herself with, because let's face it, the radios and a lot of, not just the radios, a lot of the technology and the stuff we use, it ain't really set up well for disabled people in general. And imagine a radio. You look at we complain. One of the complaints we have as often is, why aren't more radios with illuminated keypads? It would be easier when it's dark or at night to punch in frequencies and stuff. Imagine that is, you're blind. You got to just find your way on that keypad and on the functions to find where to do whatever you have to do. So it's a lot of the stuff we have isn't at all made. If there could be rules like laws that would say, well, any device that you have that has a keypad could have, braille um, on the keys. It could be like something that you have to if you want to sell something. That could help. There's so many things like that. But they make. I mean, they're really good. I just there's a blind woman that goes to the grocery store I go all the time, and every time I see her, I always look and am amazed how she can just go through everything and find what she wants, and it's like, she goes to in an alley, she knows exactly where to stop, turns right, and that's this or that. Sometimes she'll ask for people to help. She asked me so many times, like, "Oh, I'm looking for this. Is this the diet one or this the normal one?" Or it's sometimes she needs a little help, but I'm amazed how they go through all of that, and it's like, wow, I I close my eyes and I'm dizzy. So I was like, I look at that and I'm like, wow, this is so amazing, for sure. John Beckham, nice to have you here for the live show. Let me just go down. We have Rob Santry says, just getting back into shortwave after being away for some years. Are those new Texans any better than my Greenwich Satellite 700? They're just newer radios, but I'm pretty sure that your Greenwich Satellite 700 is decent and good enough as a radio. I don't think you'll get anything on a new radio that you will not hear on that Greenwich radio you have. So there's no need to invest in a new radio. Storms Radios and Cats, nice to have you here. Sheldon says it's the MAB facility near Loyola College on Sherbrooke. Ah, okay. Interesting. Interesting. I remember hearing about it, but I didn't remember where it was exactly. Robert Cross, I have to buy loops some nights. A lot of noise coming in on the long wire. And you know what? I don't know if it's the Christmas lights all around, but I've noticed that the noise level is rising fast in the past couple of weeks, and I think it has to do with a lot of the neighbors putting up Christmas decorations. I know downstairs they have a Christmas tree and lights everywhere, so it could be part of the noise. Pretty crazy. I was doing 160 meters on an amateur band, some FT8 contacts, and I couldn't believe that on 160 meters with my V antenna in the backyard, the noise level is S9. My needle is S9 on the noise, just noise. Imagine how many signals I probably miss that are still there, but they're just below that S9 line of noise. That means I only hear the strongest one at 160 meters. Crazy. PhilTube, I get more listened to with the dark early nights. Win 1960. Nice to have you here from New York. What else do we have? Nope, my stream is directly from home. Doug, Logitech MX Keys is a great eliminated wireless keyboard. Best wishes for all. Doug, VA3DM near Toronto. Yeah, I like my laptop. My gaming laptop has eliminated keys. I will never, never, ever buy a laptop without keys that light up anymore, ever. It's just so great. Storm Raiders and Cats. A friend of mine was a longtime CBer, and his radio was a Uniden Madison base station outfitted with a voice module that tells him every knob he touches and what frequency and so on. Mickey Gelmage, Sony ICF 2010 has a raised dot on the number 5. That is a start point for the blind. I'm sure other radios might do the same. Yeah, there are some. Which ones did I see? I got a couple here that have a raised dot on the key on the 5 key. One of them is maybe helpful, but I've not seen that helpful. It's the H501X has a little lighted dot below 5. Now that's not going to help the blind, but I guess it's to try to help people that want to tune in the dark, to let them know, well, the number 5 key is here. So from that starting point, you might know how to, where to get the numbers and the different keys you're looking for. Driver Films Shortwave. Nice to have you on board. Tatoy Crisanto. Nice to have you on board from the Philippines. Pretty cool. Scott KC2C80 says, when giving my QTH during a QSO and say 10 miles south of Buffalo, New York, I've gotten many replies of, oh, it's so cold there. But I say 45 miles south of Niagara Falls and I get, oh, wow, beautiful. Yeah, everybody has an image of a certain area around the world. And it's just so funny. One of the funniest comments that I get from time to time is, when I do my tech videos, of course, in Windows, I have the weather on the taskbar. Every time winter gets real cold and, it shows, oh, it's minus 23, I get these emails of, where do you live? How can you live in such cold temperature? And I see it on your taskbar. It's like, yeah, well, of course, if you live in a in the south of the US, or if you live in, even worse, if you live in a warm country that's warm all year round, yeah, you see that minus 23 Celsius, it's kind of a shock. I live at the North Pole with Santa and his elves. David in Barcelona, Spain. Nice to have you on board, my friend. You missed the reading of a little email, because I think you often were here when she was here. Our friend Elizabeth, that lived in Regina, Saskatchewan, has passed away. And it's her daughter Sophia that sent an email because Elizabeth wanted to tell us a little goodbye, I guess, and a thank you also for the live streams that were helping her out. Chuck Davis, nice to have you on board from Minneapolis, St. Paul. Danielle Marc Leblanc, nice to have you on board from the Shediac River, New Brunswick. Thank you so much. John Beckham says, John Beckham says, and I'm trying to. Okay, back in my CB days, we used to call the interference noise on the bands as ground noise. Chuck says, good afternoon. Nice to have you here. N5 KVO in South Texas. Late to the party. James M, WA1125SWL. Nice to have you on board from Prospect, Connecticut. Rest in peace, Elizabeth. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much. Phil Tube says, got an old grinding Yound Boy 10-band world receiver. Cool. Fred Waterer, off topic, but all Canadian banknotes have braille in the upper corner, and all Canadian coins have unique shapes to aid the blind. Yep, that's true. That's true. Storm of Radios and Cats, if I remember correctly, he also had a linear amplifier that his mother used a dimal label maker where she printed braille for all the settings. He was blind. Wow. That's cool. That's cool. Helping out. Right now, nope, no snow. It's actually too warm for that. It's rained a lot in the last 24 hours. It rained a lot this week. We had a lot of wind this week, and we have a lot of wind today. And it's going to be going back up to like 10 Celsius in 2-3 days with more rain. So it's really too warm for any snow right now. So it's that month where it's the will we have snow for Christmas or not? Because here, especially in the last 10, 20 years, it's getting more and more difficult to actually have a white Christmas. Tony, greetings from Ireland. Hope you all keep well. Ordered the PL990X Tuesday. Nonco Europe landed here yesterday. So much better than the 909X2 and first 909X bought a couple of years ago. So it's definitely a good radio. That definitely is. And yeah, I know you had a lot of problems also with the 909X2. So pretty crazy. Yeah, guys, for those that missed, Elizabeth passed away, and it's so sad. Canadian Radio TV guys, anyone heard anything else on WTWW? Such a shame. 9940 was an amazing frequency at night. So the news we have right now. So first of all, Ted Randall's gone. They kind of told him that he was not welcome anymore. And he's moved on to a show called WRMI Legends on WRMI. So that's what you have to look if you want to have something that sounded like WTWW used to. The other news we have is that apparently the transmitters are in bad shape. They've not been well maintained. They were also not tuned well. So they sustained some damage while being operating. And they are looking at kind of fixing all of that. But when the transmissions come back on the air, there will be only religious broadcasts. And what they are planning, if it ever goes through, what they are planning is to try to bring back 2 frequencies on the air. One will be just for their own broadcast, Scriptures for America. One will be rented airtime for religious only broadcasts. So might as well stay off the air. Just saying. Tony, great to be here early for change. Wife gone on her Christmas work night out, so I'm free to play with the radios. Now that's the time to do so. David says, sorry to hear about Elizabeth passing, keeping her in my thoughts and wishing only the best to her family. What else do we have? An MLA 30, I think Sea Sparrow would be the best bet where you would get some. Al, God bless Elizabeth and her family. Doug says, tell Sophia that death is not a permanent condition for some. One can experience rebirth psychically. There are strange powers of the mind that cannot be explained by natural laws. Sea Sparrow, stupid question. Would I need to amplify signals for long distance run, or would that just be better signal pickup? Actually, you don't need to amplify. If you get an outdoor wire, you don't need to amplify anything. If it's in a position or in a way that it doesn't have too much noise, you're going to get great signals even if the feed line is long. You won't really lose much, especially at shortwave frequencies. Then the other thing is, if it's an MLA 30, it's already an amplified antenna. So what you get in the wire and the coax that is with it is actually an amplified signal already. Yeah, sorry about that, Eric, but I'm not going to start playing around with translations of everything for everything I do. Sorry if it's hard to understand for some that are not fluent in English much. Flame Garden, I'm curious if the clock in your area there is 5 hours ahead of current real time. Yeah, it's in UTC. The clock there is in UTC. Since we're talking about shortwave, what we want to talk about on shortwave is UTC. That's the only time we use for radio listening. So we all know when to tune around. So that's why the clock is in UTC. Scott KC2C80, weather here, rain and high winds also. Just over a week ago, we had 5+ feet. Wow. Crazy, eh? Such a big switch. Storm radios and cats. It's been windy here off and on with temps in the 50, 60 Fahrenheit and overnights all over charts temperature wise. Been staying in lately and I caught the flu. No wonder, really crazy temperatures. Stay warm, listen to the radio. Danielle Marc LeBlanc says there's nothing like a good snowstorm with a nice glass of your favorite drink in front of your shortwave radio. Crazy hot in the south in New Brunswick compared to the north that has tons of the white stuff. Well, here you have, you go 3 or 4 hours drive north Montreal, and it's like everything's snow there. They had snow and snow and snow. It's really just the south part of Quebec that is staying in kind of a warm spot. Plus, Sam3, nice to have you on board, says, what's the best shortwave radio in 2022? For a portable, I give my vote to the Texan H501X or the Texan PL990X or the Texan PL880. They are great receivers. What other? There are a few others that are also not that bad. There's a couple of Ethon receivers that are worth mentioning, like the Executive SSB. That's not a bad radio. It's actually pretty good. XH Data D808, which is also a CU Woodon D808. Great radios. They are definitely good radios. Texan PL330, not expensive and really amazing. There's a few of those out there that are pretty amazing. I would say. David, EA3IEK, this week finally got a Bonito AAS 300 DP multi-couple. What an awesome thing. I had never been able to simultaneously use my ICOM ICR 8500, COM Radio CR1, and AirSpy HF Plus Discovery on all the same antenna. It definitely is a game changer. When I got my multi-coupler here and I started being able to use 4 radios at the same time, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of times when 4 radios are actually running. Sometimes comparing signals on each, sometimes just attuned to different frequencies. I often like to have one on a specific frequency, say the global command HF transmissions, and another one on another frequency, another one on, and or some air traffic and stuff like that. So Sea Sparrow, sorry I missed it. Rest in peace, Elizabeth. Mercy to Sea's Garage. What's a good place to get an ML830? There's a lot of spots where you can get one. Amazon does have some. The trick is mostly the price. Price should be around 40-ish US dollars, not really much more than that, because I've seen some ML830s for like $100. No, don't pay $100 for that. But eBay, or there's no specific seller we can tell you get it from him, or I think we all probably got different sellers for our MLE30s, and they're all the same, honestly, and pretty much all the MLE30 plus now. So pretty. But check on Amazon. I know that Amazon has a lot of them. James Porth says, greetings from Texas. Enjoy your YouTube channel. Have been listening to Shortwave for over 50 years. Currently have a St. Jane ATS 909 and an SDR Play RSPDX. So cool, Jim. Nice to have you here. W5JAP. W5JAP. What else do we have? Flame Garden says, thank you for explaining shortwave uses UTC always. Yeah, because, local time since shortwave is international, and, my local time, your local time, and somebody else's local time, and we're in different time zones. So if we start talking about a radio signal in our time, well, somebody in the UK is going to say, yeah, but what time is that here? I have no idea what Montreal time is in relation to, London time and to whatever. So to fix that, we use universal time, UTC. So what I always recommend to anybody that's getting serious in either shortwave listening or amateur radio, keep a clock always in UTC. So like that, when you look at frequency schedules, when you look at different things, if you want to share with others what you're listening to, you give them the UTC time. We all know what UTC time is in reference to our local time. So if I say, well, there's this signal that's going to be here at 2200 hours UTC, well, everybody knows where they live when 22 hours UTC is. So, that's the cool thing for sure. The only thing is, I think it's off by close to a minute. I wouldn't be surprised it's off by about a minute. I need to tweak it to put it back in sync. Mark from Vancouver, love this program. Thanks for sharing your wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much. It's nice to be here. Danny Shortwave and Radio DX, the new famous live show host. Nice to have you on board from rainy Yonkers, New York. What else do we have? Chuck Davis, got to fix my clock to UTC. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Daniel Mark LeBlanc says, just make sure when you tune your UTC with Jill that you're watching his live show. Yeah, that's a good, better yet, go and listen to WWV, or, one of the tricks that I always tell everybody, and nobody knows, is like, I don't know what UTC time it is where I am. If you Google what time is it UTC, it's going to actually tell you immediately the UTC time. You'll eventually know immediately what time zone you're in. But keep a clock. Even the portable radios, my portable receivers for shortwave, the clock on each of them is set to UTC. I never set it to local. It's useless because you're looking at schedules or you're listening to something. If you want to find your information online, you got to be in UTC. You got to go online. It's like, oh, okay, I'm hearing this signal and this frequency at 2115 UTC. That's how you're going to find the information. If you use the local time, you might not find what you're looking for. And all the schedule sites are all UTC also. Um, mm, 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 mm. Shira Emmanuel, what do you think about the Texan PL310? I have one from a long, many, many years ago. They upgraded the 310 to the 310 ET because they added easy tuning mode to it. It's okay, but it's over time, at least the one that I have, I noticed that it's not as sensitive as the newer receivers. So you'd be better off with something a little more modern in the numbering. There's not that much difference between the 310 and the 330 in price. And you get a way, way better radio with the 330 than the 310. So you can maybe look at that instead. Somebody also asked me what I thought about the PL320 that's been showing up. It's actually on Chinese sites. It's like on AliExpress and stuff like that. It's not on Anonco. The 320 looks like a 330 that they stripped off single sideband, pretty much. And for the price that it is, you're better off with a 330 because it's almost the same price. Veslin Titani, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Brad and Amarillo, nice to have you here. N5LUL, WA5192SWL. Catalin, about a Variac from the meeting in Dortmund, thinking of using it for VLF as an antenna. Huh. Interesting. Why not? Why not? Tontos is sorry to hear about Elizabeth. Prayers, rest in peace. Mike Jam, just catching up now. Listen to the message from Elizabeth. Often wondered how she did so well for a blind person. God rest her soul and comfort you, Sophia. David Miller says, I don't see many people talking about the Texan S8800. Expensive, but is it worth it? The specs look good on paper, but does it perform in real world? What I hear, the big problem is I hesitate to talk about a radio I don't own because, an example, the Ethon Elite 750. I see so much great reviews until I have one, and it's like, okay, no, it's expensive for what it is, and there's so too many flaws on it. It's a great looking radio, but I want to make my own mind. It's like a doctor, when you ask a doctor, why do I have to do the same tests that the other doctor told me to do? Well, same for me. It's like, yeah, but why don't you read the reviews? And I want to do my own review and I want to tune it myself. And I'll let you know what I think because I have my take on it. I have my experience of listening on it. I have my experience of what a good radio is. So I quickly find the flaws. The deep SDR, I had Dave Zanto, N9EWO, come back to me and actually he put my review of it on his website. In case you guys don't know about his site, I'm going to share it because it's a really, really good site, by the way. And EWO Dave. I'm going to share it with you guys because it's definitely a place you need to go. Go to his webpage. He reviews everything. His reviews are really good, pretty much spot on. Every time I review something, I look at his reviews and I'm like, pretty much agreeing on everything that's wrong. We are agreeing on. It's like he's definitely one of the top reviewers that I love. That I always look at the stuff. But he was telling me how he he watched my review of the Deep SDR 101, and he said not only is your review showing us a crappy radio, crappy SDR, he said you actually mentioned tons of things that I didn't even know because nobody mentions them. Because he played with it and noticed all the stuff, the extra stuff I didn't even know about. So all I can say, people that have one, the Texan S8800, seem to love it and say it's great. The reason I don't have one is what you're mentioning. It's really expensive here. I don't want to spend that kind of money for a radio like that. But it looks good. So I don't know. I've never checked if Dave has a review of that one. Maybe he does. Check his review. If he says it's good, it's good. I would buy in an instant any radio that he reviews that's he says it's great, because I know the level of knowledge he has, and his reviews are spot on. And hey, why not help him? It's Christmas time. He's always asking for, financial help, a little some donations. So if you guys want to help out at the same time, I think he would probably appreciate it. Check his website. Definitely worth keeping in your favorites, because almost every new radio hour that comes out, he pretty much tests them all. It's pretty cool. Lex 2006, can you recommend a handheld scanner and portable antenna for mobile listening? I'm not into scanner radios much anymore, so it's an area where I don't have too much knowledge of the new stuff coming out. If it's for very simple analog style things that you can hear, I always tell everybody now today is get yourself a used one. There's tons and tons of them for cheap that pop up everywhere in hamfests and because people don't use them anymore. I have a hard time thinking about, putting hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a scanner radio today, especially with the fast changing landscape of technology, where analog today, digital tomorrow, and digital tomorrow may be encrypted digital tomorrow, which means nothing you can do to listen to it anymore. So it's kind of hard for me to really recommend anything, honestly. But for an antenna, though, I've seen some on Amazon. I've seen some pop up here and there. Look for wideband telescopics that are sold. They're not very expensive, and they're really pretty good at the job that they do. And I have a couple of them here. One that is a Radio Shack one that I purchased in the 90s. And I've got another one here that I purchased, I think was on eBay. And I have one, I think I've seen one on Amazon that says it's a wideband telescopic for scanners. It's a BNC base. So make sure that the radio you use has a BNC connector, or else you'll have to have an adapter for it. But it depends what you're looking for and what actually you want to listen to also. C Sparrow purchased the Deep SDR 101 for $83. Well, I don't know if you've seen my review. I am having fun still. I don't regret buying it. I just not really telling anyone to buy it. Tony, luckily in Ireland is UTC time. Anyone got a favorite song about radio? Mine is Tom Robinson, Atmospherics. Great shortwave song, if ever there was one. Really great lyrics. Look it up on YouTube. I don't have a shortwave song itself. but you um, you can hear shortwave things on several songs and radio related things on several songs over the years. The one that I always hear every time I hear Planet Claire from the B-52s, the opening sequence with the Morse code. These are actual shortwave sounds, and the Morse code in the beginning is actually Canadian Forces Halifax Morse code station. So my gem, nice to have you here, Eric. I'm not in Discord. Um, Josh Roybal, nice to have you here from Minnesota. Tonto, you mentioned static on 160 meters. You might see if a bandpass filter would help. 160 is notoriously noisy. Hope you're all fine. Here the problem is that any wire type antenna in the backyard is dreadfully noisy. It's why I got the loop, and that's my. Sometimes I'm thinking, maybe a transmitting magnetic loop that I can transmit also could be a good choice of an antenna for my radio. Jorhada. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, because I'm sure I'm totally wrong. Nice to have you on board. And he's in Christmas Market. Won't let go. What else do we have? How's that new audio crazy? So okay, let's take a pause. I'm a little behind, but I'm gonna try to get a little faster. We're gonna talk a little bit about radio. So first let's talk about the famous deep SDR 101. For example, let's tune I'm gonna take the pen because I'm gonna go crazy without it. Of course, I can't find it, so I'm gonna use the tip of this. 25,000 kilohertz. See if I get it. Yeah, it's there. It's a little weak. Let's try. I'll try 20 or 15. Yeah. So this is WWV on 15. On the deep SDR 101. Look, like I said in my review, there's something that's attractive that keeps me going back to it, and I think it's the form factor and the SDR screen, and it's kind of cool to look at. But apart from that, man, it's dreadfully difficult to go around. You got to really press hard on this button to really go through the menus, which is dreadfully bad. It's missing a lot of functionalities and things that make it really, really good. Look at my review. I got it because I got it at a really decent price, which would come to maybe 70 US dollars ish, I would say 75. But apart from that, the standard price, like I was looking at it again on Amazon, was yesterday. The lowest price I had now was like 160 Canadian dollars. Don't pay that. It's not worth it at all. It has a lot of flaws, overloads like crazy, difficult to use, not very good on medium wave, even really bad on long wave. The wide FM part is the most stupid thing that I can think of. Whoever designed this doesn't know what he does. When you go to 149 megahertz, one of the first things that I thought, hey, I'm going to tune the 2 meter band. You can't. It's stuck in wide FM, 192 kilohertz wide. Useless on the 2 meter band. It's narrow FM. So it's good for broadcast. It's good for the airband when you listen to the local airport. It's surprisingly quiet on the telescopic. So this is good news, but you know, even if that's good news, there's so much bad news with it that it's a fun toy to play with, and that's all. If you aren't expecting great results, you're gonna have fun, and you're gonna be like, yeah, okay, and I can cope with the settings and play around with the stuff to hear what I want to hear. But then again, you'll always have something you'll listen to, and you're gonna be like, oh wow, it's hard to really listen to something when the AJC goes crazy and the signal just goes up, and then it kind of blurts out or something or distorts because it just can't cope with it, and then it goes back down. It's and there's some FM breakthrough, which is not too bad when you use, like I'm using the MLA 30 here. But if you put the telescopic on this, I have FM breakthrough everywhere. So it makes it difficult to tune signals because they're FM breakthrough. Battery life is quite surprising, I got to say, for a little something that is a mini computer with a touch screen. And like I said, you can't touch the different options you want. You got to go through that darn system that they have, which is really bad. And for the other one, I haven't tested much yet. What I can quickly say about the Audio Crazy, which came out as $29 Canadian, something like that, with the special on the Black Friday special. Seems to be not too bad. It's weird because it's a DSP based radio. Obviously, they're all like that at that price now. So the tuning is weird because it's like you gotta, it's a hit or miss when you tune. So it makes it a little touchy to tune in signals. But once you're centered, pretty good. It seems sensitive enough, honestly. I've heard quite a few signals in the hour that I played with it. It seems to be sensitive enough on medium wave too. But I'll have to really play a lot more with it. What is probably the first thing that I found sad about it, especially because the big speaker and everything, and that they mentioned that this is a great radio for the audio. The audio is kind of crappy. It's missing in some frequencies, so it's okay audio, not really good audio. For the rest, for a kitchen radio, probably because it plugs in. It comes in with the power cable to plug directly in a wall socket. No need for an external, wall wart or adapter. It has a built-in transformer for that. So you can, this could be a good kitchen radio maybe. So if you're looking for a AM FM receiver, maybe that could be something inexpensive, as shortwave as an extra. Uses D batteries. So that means, I guess, the batteries are going to last a pretty long time in this thing. I don't think that probably consumes a lot of current. But more to come as I use it. More to come. And I think it's going to be interesting to see its performance. Listening to some interesting shortwave signals. I did listen to Radio Romania. Was coming in one day. When in the hour that I tried it, Radio Romania got WRMI on one frequency and WWCR. I was in my office, which is noisy, but it seemed to be interesting. So more to come. I'll be posting videos on it. Okay, what else do we have? Let's see here. Go down, go down. Here we go. There we go. We go down, down. Phil DiNapoli. What is the name of that 24-hour clock that you had on your show last week? 24-hour clock. The only clock I had is this one here. So this is an old Next Tech clock that was on at Radio Shack. I was thinking I was at the dollar store and I thought it'd be nice to have a good old analog clock. So it was $4, I believe. I thought that it looked kind of cool. So I'm going to set up this somewhere and have it. I'll also put it in the UTC time. Of course, it's a 12-hour clock, not 24 hours with the handles. But it's. I thought it looked cool. I'm going to put it somewhere. Sea Sparrow never thought about setting the clock on the Texan for UTC. Yep. Like that, you always know your UTC time, and anything you tune, you're always in UTC. KB9IN in Milwaukee, nice to have you here. John Beckham, would you say that the audio quality would be similar between the XH Data D368 and the D901? I would say they are very close. Honestly, yeah, pretty much. Marshall R. Also been getting a lot of more noise on the 160 meter handband than I did a few months ago. Some of it has to do with the LED Christmas lights. Yeah, definitely. Michael says, voted #1 radio host Joe live on the official Shortwave channel. RJ Dakota says, a clock on my wall is always UTC. It confuses only some people, but I always expect you to explain the time difference to people. Yeah. Richard Yoshino, please recommend portable radio under 300 Canadian dollars. Get yourself Texan PL990. You're going to be happy. Or even an 880. Catalan, yep. RSPDX is at a special price. Definitely. Time to pick up one if you want to have an SDR, a good SDR. It's definitely a nice one. Tony, has anyone tried out the TEF 6686 DSP radio? I don't know. I've seen a lot of it. I have the impression it's a variation of the Deep SDR 101. Keegan DXer, my Grundig S450 DLX, Ethan Grundig Edition Field BT, Ethan Satellite, additional Satellite, Elite Field CC Grain, CC Skywave SB, have 12 24-hour time moments, all set to 24-hour time for UTC. Mr. C's Garage, been looking at a GMT watch. It has an additional 24-hour hand you can set to the time zone. Cool. What I think of Todd Herbert's reviews, superficial is the word I'm going to use. It's not in depth, and there's a lot of missing information. That's all I'm going to say. DB Ostrowski, nice to have you on board from Medicine Hat, Alberta. We have Mr. C's Garage, old Radio Shack discount. Yep, I had that discount long time ago. Tony says, thanks for your videos on the Deep SDR 101. It's definitely one to watch development-wise, even though it has many shortcomings. If they would add an attenuation, if they would fix the gain, the automatic gain so that it can limit itself a little more when signals fade in and out. Um, Fix the overload in some way a little more, and the spurious signals you see everywhere. Give The other thing I would like to have on it is give me a better way of getting in the touchscreen to get the different options I want to make it easy to use. Um, the first day I posted my first video on it, the first thing that came in my email was, okay, I got one. I've never been able to use it. I have no idea what to do. And he watched me on the video and he says, well, you seem to be tuning around and changing all the functions. I don't know what to do. I have no idea. And there's probably going to be, for those that have one, a quick online YouTube manual of how to use it. I think it's needed. I'd like to have bandwidth choices on the different modes. That'd be kind of nice to have bandwidth choices. And what else would I like? So a better menu, of course, better touchscreen menu to go through the different options. There's a few things that need to be fixed, definitely, on that thing. No, even if you have a good radio, if you've got noise, and even if you get another radio, because I think there are a lot of people that are on the impression that, well, I've got that $100 radio. If I get that $300 radio, I'm going to get more on it. And the thing is no, you're not. There might be ways of doing things that, some options that are going to help, but you're not going to get more. You're not going to hear things you don't hear on the other one. One of them that I got a few times, people telling me, oh, well, on that Yaesu FTDX10, you're going to get stuff you don't hear on the Texan. It ain't happening. I'm going to tell you that. And I'm not surprised. I never thought I would. Receiver sensitivity is kind of maxed out pretty much. Now, that said, the Yaesu FTDX10 has features that help. There's a noise reduction system that can, in certain circumstances, help. There's also other things like passband tuning. There's all sorts of little things that, and the AGC, I can change the automatic gain control, slow, fast, medium speed, that helps in certain circumstances on some signals, especially single sideband. So it gives me possibilities of better listening of certain signals, but I ain't getting a signal on the Yaesu FTDX10 that my other radios are not getting. And that's where it is. I get too many people saying, oh, well, why don't you talk about desktop receivers? They are so much more sensitive. They are not more sensitive than today's portables. They are, like I say, pretty much all maxed out. They are better in certain things, like I said, with the features that you don't see on a portable. You know what I would like to see on a Texan portable or any portable that is decent? Why doesn't, I'll have a very, very direct hit at Sangean here. Sangean on the ATS 909X2, okay, gives us the famous auto bandwidth switch to have the bandwidth change automatically depending on the fading of the signal, which is the crappiest, useless feature ever and just makes things more annoying when you listen. And I got a few people saying, well, no, that feature is great. It really enhances. No, it doesn't. And obviously you haven't used it or don't know what I'm talking about because nope, it doesn't help. It makes things worse. You know what? That money they spent in doing that little circuit that does it all and that's on-off switch, why didn't you freaking do AGC slow fast switch, which would have been a million times more helpful. That said, the AGC, the automatic gain control on the St. Gian, is definitely set at a level that is better than on the Texan. The Texan is way too fast and too harsh. I want a portable radio that has selectable automatic gain control. Give me even if it's just slow or fast and off. At least I got a choice, you know? So that's mostly the thing here. Drive film shortwave, not done much scanning recently. Can't see the point in getting a digital scanner. Airband all the way. You know, there are markets where a digital scanner can be fun because there are areas where the digital signals are not encrypted, so which means you could still listen to the police or listen to ambulance and all sorts of things, emergency. Wow, the wind outside is crazy right now. Dang. Okay, so what happens is that in some markets, I think it's kind of nice, but changes fast. And if you spend $1,000 on a scanner today that does it all, the problem is that scanner will eventually become obsolete. You'll be spent $1,000 for a radio that's going to not listen to much more than analog stuff at some point in time. Now, that said, if that's your thing and you love that, go for it. Definitely. I know some people are still, crazy scanner fans, but I personally don't think it's worth it spending all that money on a radio like that. And I'll say it again and again because there's too many people that are an impression that, oh, well, now that the law enforcement where I live is digital, there's nothing on scanner radios to listen to. And it's untrue. In fact, in most markets, the majority of things you can listen to are still analog. It's just that, yeah, you're not going to listen to your local cops. Yeah, okay. If that was the only thing that interests you, you lost that, and yeah, okay, maybe that's why you're sad. But I've got scanner radios here, and every now and then, turn them on, start scanning VHF, UHF, find tons and tons of channels that pop up analog with all sorts of interesting stuff. And it's worth it to scan, but you got to take the time. Sit down. Don't scan for 10 minutes and saying, I don't hear anything. Remember, these are communications that are sporadic. They're there and now, but gone in 10 seconds. You got to have the chance of when you were scanning you have to be there when that signal's there. And that might mean you need to scan that band several times, but every time you find a frequency, put in a memory channel. I did that one afternoon. I scanned for maybe 4 hours in one afternoon just for the fun of it and doing other things. And in a 4 hour afternoon here in Montreal, I was able to fill about 60, 70 channels with all sorts of analog stuff. Some I have no idea what they are. Some that sound somewhat, um, emergency related, all sorts of things like that. And it's fun actually. And I always keep one of my scanners because I got several with all of the latest analog stuff that I found. Because when there's a big storm, when there's something happening, even if it's not the police, if you listen to, I don't know, you found the frequencies for the local, garbage trucks or the towings that go and get the cars that are stuck somewhere. Makes for fun and interesting listening because they are in the live action. They might not be the cops, but they're in the live action of the weather's bad right now and there's tons of things happening and there's interaction between all of these people. So you're kind of within and in that time frame of the live action of what's happening. It's different. Definitely. It's not listening to the police, definitely. But it's still something interesting. But like I say all the time, find yourself a used scanner if you don't have one and you want to try it, rather than buying something new today. I don't think that buying a brand new scanner today is necessarily a good idea. So, guys, it's crazy windy out there. It's incredible. I think they said that it would be like a up to 90 km/h winds. So if I leave mysteriously, maybe the power went out, but it doesn't happen often here when it's bad. But who knows? Danny Shortwave says I can't. David White, MLA 30. Yeah, this is a magnetic loop antenna, cheap magnetic loop antenna, inexpensive, but definitely nice if you have a very noisy environment. It could actually help you get more signals. Danny Shortwave Radio DX says I can't justify spending too much on a new digital scanner. I'm happy with the older analog scanners. Plenty of signals here to listen. Tony, I wonder, did George Lucas use some shortwave recording samples when he invented Alien? Noises, tuning SSB, I can hear those noises and it reminds me of the first Star Wars. I'm sure there are probably a lot more movies and effects that we can hear that were maybe done on shortwave radios or amateur radio receivers, transceivers, because they just sounded creepy and were perfect. Yeah, it does, Danny Shortwave. I got a few comments like that saying, "Well, it looks like a small miniature GE Super Radio." Jeff in New Hampshire, nice to have you here. David White, is the MLA 30 on Amazon the same as the MLA 30 I see on many? I see many talk about. Yeah, an MLA 30 loop is an MLA 30 loop. Just make sure that you choose when you look at the pictures. Make sure that you have the one that has the loop and that has the bias T power box. I see some people buying an MLA 30, but they don't get a bias T power box. They get simply a cable that you have to find a way that you got to plug somehow into the power. Just make sure you have the one that has the bias T box that plugs like with a little USB cable. Tonto, the deep SDR 101 is a great concept, not ready for prime time, maybe version 2. Who knows? We're going to see what happens, or if there is a version 2, or maybe somebody else would do one. Canadian Radio TV guy thinking of purchasing an RSP1A. What's your advice? It's a great one. Look at the price of the RSPDX. It's been reduced. If it's not too much more, you'll get not only a good SDR, but you'll also get an SDR with 3 antenna inputs, which is very useful. But you do get a great working SDR with the RSP1A. I consider that to be the entry level SDR. That if you're looking for just one, don't want to spend too much, that's the entry level SDR that you should buy. Mark W. The ATS-25 looks like a nice SDR with easier to use interface, but seems to be missing waterfall display. Any firmware updates that could enable a waterfall? So the ATS-25 is a different radio. It's not an SDR, and that's the main difference. That's why you don't see the waterfall. The ATS-25 is a DSP only based radio, so it has a menu to control the radio, frequency input, stuff like that. But you won't see. And I don't think they can really implement much of a waterfall display on that ATS-25. It's really a DSP-based radio, digital signal processing-based radio, where the deep SDR is, as it says, a software-defined radio. Francis Moore, nice to have you here. Tony, that encoder button looks like it won't last long from all that pressing. Definitely a single point of failure. Yeah, I gotta I gotta say that it's something that I'm looking forward to see how long that's gonna last. Especially, I have to press so much that I tell you guys, using it for an hour, my hands get tired because of all the pressing to go into the different menus. Masters plays radio and television plus gaming. How to stop electromagnetic interference from obstructing your shortwave listening. There's so much you can do, honestly. The first thing is to try to manage it, to see where it comes from. Identify it is the first thing. Where does the noise come from? So identify it. Bring a portable radio with you outdoors. Move around the house with the portable radio. Try to see the spots where noise are. Try to find maybe devices you own that make the noise. If you can identify noise sources within your home, that is manageable, because you can say, I'm going to turn off that thing when I do my shortwave listening. So that's the manageable thing that you can do. The other manageable thing that you can do is that the outdoors, if you have an outdoor antenna, once again, using portable radio, you can try to find the sweet spot. Where is it outdoors that I have the least amount of noise? Position your antennas in those areas to lower the noise. But there's so much you can do. There's a past there's a moment where there's just nothing you can do. And I know that a lot of people are in that moment now. They have no radio reception pretty much, and there's absolutely nothing they can do. You got to be careful when we talk about the radios with the noise reduction. The noise reduction works when you get reception. It's not a magic, I'm taking the noise out. It's the signal's strong enough to already be heard, and I can manage to, with the algorithms of the computer, to soften it as much as possible from the white noise around it. And it will help you. But in a case where you hear almost nothing on any band, that almost nothing that you hear, noise reduction will not do anything on it. It's not going to bring it out of the noise. It's useless in that functionality. So you got to be careful. And when it's not manageable, that's the sad part. There's really nothing much you can do. You can't annoy your neighbors and say, hey, your electric fence is making noise. Your garden lights are making noise. Your toaster oven is making noise. They're going to look at you like you're some kind of weirdo. What do you want to do when it's out of your control, neighbors or other stuff around you, businesses and so on? It's sad, but it comes to a point where some people actually can only DX going out to a park or going out to some spot where there's no noise with a portable radio. And it's sad, but it's getting worse. And it ain't going to get better. On the International Radio Report show last week, we had an item about how wireless car charging could be the next source of noise that would wash out shortwave, medium wave, and long wave frequencies. That's scary. We can come to a point where we're not doing our hobby, not because, and I'll say it again, because when somebody tells me, or when somebody comes back and tells me, well, there's nothing on shortwave, why invest in a radio? The thing is there's quite a lot of signals when you have low noise. Go to the SDRs online that have a very low noise environment. Man, you can hear tons of things easily. But the lack of signals has a lot to do with the noise around us. A lot to do with the noise around us. If we all had quiet environments, you'd be listening to the BBC almost 24 hours. There's always one frequency that makes it in North America pretty good. But it's hidden in that noise, unfortunately. and it's going to get worse. We're in. That's also one thing that we were kind of mentioning is there used to be rules and regulations on everything cannot make more than this amount of noise to not interfere with things. Where's that gone? Why is it that we'll have wireless car chargers that can emit so much noise and block out AM radio and shortwave, and what, nobody cares about it anymore? It's weird. I don't get it. Why can these devices make so much noise? Isn't there a rule? I don't know. It's weird. James M, listening to Voice of America 11720. Yep, at 21 to 22 UT, they have it's a great signal for Voice of America. David White, DBSDR, yep, 100 kilohertz, 149 megahertz. The only problem with is long wave's unusable. Medium wave, if you're close to a frequency of a strong AM station, it's difficult. And the VHF portion is unusable because it's all wideband, unfortunately. Yeah, people are mentioning all their favorite songs for radio. Yeah, that's very limited. The Sea Sparrow is there are things that mean that if you get noise, that grounding can help, but your antenna receives what's around it, and if where it is there's a lot of noise, nothing will remove the noise from it. It receives every signal that it gets. Noise is a electromagnetic signal, and so if it's in the noise, it's in the noise. You'll get noise, and there's not much you can do about it if you live in a noisy environment. Yeah, we can manage Greg's post by removing duplicates, but not you don't need to block him, let's say, because it's okay. Take care, Storm Radios and Cats. What happened to the Wednesday streams? The Wednesday streams were I took out because of I didn't have the time to do them anymore, and so I'm right now they're not planned to come back. If they are, like I said earlier in the when we started the stream, if I do come back with a live show on Wednesday or any other day, because I'm not sure, it could be it could be another day. It'll be the amateur radio channel. I think that would be a nice thing to do. Have one amateur radio and one shortwave. Um, what else do we have? Let me just do a little something here. Signal. Here we go. Do a little signaling here for stuff. There we go. It's been a while since we had some of those crap post stuff. Okay. Trying to go down as fast as I can. I'll try to go down as fast as I can. Signal. Just gonna, there we go. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to catch up where I was and try to continue down. So, yeah, Deep SDR is portable, but it's the only thing that it is. Let's try to go down. Tony, the PL990 isn't bad actually in overload. If you have a lot of older overload, there's probably one of the signals that overloads it. But the portables are portables. Every single portable you'll have will overload. And I'd say on the 990 and the H501, they're pretty much equal. So that's why they put the attenuator switch on the side where you can lower the sensitivity when it overloads. Strong signals overload every single portable. Of all the tests that I've done, though, of all the radios, the PL990X and H501X overload a lot less than most other portables. So it gives you an idea that on an external antenna, you could have a lot worse. I rarely have mine overload. My 501 and 990 will overload sometimes. Here it's pretty much always the same thing with WWCR, which packs a really strong signals at night from time to time on the 49-meter band. So that's why to manage they have the attenuator switch. Andrew DXer, disappointed about the FM breakthrough on the deep SDR as I have strong local relays, which will cause an issue. Yeah, and there's a lot of other stuff. Thank you, Jeff and New Hampshire, for the tip. Really, really nice to have that. Thank you so much. W1XTX. Can you read a TV guy? Brother Stare on 15555 upper sideband. Strange. Maybe some kind of HF experiment. Actually, it's a preacher. I don't think it's Brother Stare. They have some other type of preaching. 15555 upper sideband is the station, the religious station in Milton, Florida. It's been there for a long time. So, but I don't think they have Brother Stare. I think what they have is it might sound the same, but it's religious broadcasts only. John Beckham, the days of Radio Shack were so heavenly for many of us. Yeah, definitely. Tony, what's my next purchase of radio tuner? I don't know yet. I'm going to check it out. Francis, don't know if you can help due to my dyslexia problem. I'm having problems getting around a way to contact a repeater for receive only, such as the ISS repeater. So you want to just listen. What you do is you have to, because I don't know exactly where the problem lies in your in trying to get the repeater, but you have to punch in the frequency of the repeater's downlink, which is 4, and I forgot, 4 ISS repeater up down 437.800. So on your radio, you have to punch in 437.800. I don't know exactly, because I'm trying to understand how your dyslexia is making it difficult to tune it. Or maybe you can explain it, send me an email or explain it through some other means, and I can help you out. Because what you need to do is simply so if you receive only, what you need to punch in is what's called the downlink frequency. So in this case, it's 437.800. Jim Gordon, nice to have you here. From Scotland, testing a 1990s Philips AE 3750, double conversion with good AJC, quite good on shortwave, medium wave, and long wave. Cool. Cool. Artist Autocrafters Kitchen says wishing the Texan PL 600 would keep accurate time. Otherwise, I love the radio. Yeah, most portables that I have are terrible. The Ethon is the same. There's horrible clocks on them. What else do we have? Josh, I've not always found Airburst reviews to pan out, but I can't remember being burned by Radio J Allen. Yeah, Radio J Allen's pretty good in general too. They are quite good also. So this is but I have a hard time with very very superficial reviews of the of Todderbird channel, basically. Where you can send money to the channel. Well, there's the super chat here that you can use to donate, or you can also. I've not talked about it in a long time. Hesitate asking. I don't want to beg. That money, by the way, any money that is sent here, they are always put towards purchasing radio gear so that I can test them out. So if you want to donate, there's also the PayPal, and it's this PayPal that you have to go to that you can send something. So if you guys want to donate through PayPal at the Yahoo email that I just posted, it's possible. If you're not using the super chat, don't know how. For the rest, it's kind of complicated in other ways. So there's a super chat, and there's the that you can actually use at the bottom. There's a dollar dollar sign on the super chat, and there's the PayPal that I just posted. Yeah, I get when you guys click the dollar thing at the bottom, the donations come to me. What else do we have? KM400S. Contour, please. Contour. What do you mean? Yeah, auto bandwidth is terrible. Sea Sparrow, wouldn't it be better to set the 501X at long wave to European frequency bands to pick up more? There's actually very little difference in European or not. The X5 the 501X goes through all of the long wave. You set it so that it's a continuous coverage. Yeah, selectivity and automatic gain control these are things that we have to check more these days, for sure. Something I'm going to do here for a second. Click here, do this. Ooh, this is what I wanted to do. Everything's so small. Okay, here we go. Oh, whoa. Not that everything's too big. It's too small or too big. There we go. Just want to do something here because I'm trying to get the menu. I can't get to the menu. Okay. Oh well. What do we have? What do we have? Muting threshold, nope. And the noise reduction doesn't do really much, honestly. Thank you for the tip, my friend. Much appreciated. Because you want to have it coverage complete so that you can, not miss out on anything. One of the things about the 990 and 501, which is cool, is you can tune the long wave, Navtex transmissions on 518 kilohertz and 490 kilohertz. No, there is no such thing as a perfect portable, definitely. That is something that we have to deal with. That each radio has its own little glitch, and some of them are better than others, but they all have flaws. It'd be fun if a company would sit down, look at the flaws of every radio, and say, "Now we're going to make the perfect one with, make sure that it doesn't do this or that." So, Harold, nice to have you here from Oslo, Norway, LB1NH. And so, yeah, RDS is one of the big things. I think Texan just doesn't want to. I don't know. They don't want to invest in some kind of new um, um, display or something. I don't know. It's crazy because the DSP chip they use in all the radios has RDS in it. They could easily implement it, but they have to have a brand new display that can display all of that stuff. So basically, what else do we have? Radio Romania 7310. Our friends James. Tony can hear hospitals, cab companies, and so on. Depending on where you are, there's more or less for sure. Hey, Games Radio Channel, nice to have you on board. What else do we have? Thank you so much, Flame Garden, for the tip. What do we have? Yeah, definitely. Art is out of Crafter's Kitchen. The internet has eliminated patience for many people. They turn on the radio, expect to be listening to hundreds of stations immediately. Very true for scanner radios. It's like I made a top 10 of frequencies to look at, and I get tons of crappy posts of people saying, "Well, I don't see any frequencies to tune to punch in." Um, shortwave isn't like listening to your local AM FM band. I can't tell you that this is the frequency to tune to something specific, especially from people all around the world watching. I tell you, this is the range you're going to hear stuff. Tune around that range. I just told you a range of frequencies. If you're too dumb lazy to do it, that's your problem. It's like, what do you expect? That I can tell you that at your location, you got to listen to say these 16 frequencies? That's not the way it works on shortwave. It's more complicated than that. Here in the UK, Europe, there's a lot less to receive with the emergency services and phone calls gone digital. Even some businesses have gone digital with DSD. Best to get RTL SDR. Yeah, that's a way to really get into the hobby in a very inexpensive way. The RTL SDR is inexpensive and it gives you VHF, UHF capability. That's cool. What's also cool about the RTL SDR is that it's not the frequency range is complete. You don't have like scanner radios bits of frequencies depending on where you buy it that are actually blocked. Greg says, when I was a kid growing up, I remembered snow at Christmas. Jace Gilbert, nice to have you on board. Salut. What else do we have? Let's try to go down. Try to catch up a little bit here. John Bickham at 7310, Radio Romania, Northeast Florida. Richard Wagner, RSPDX, Texan PL330, best bang for the buck. Same for the MLA 30 Plus. Sea Sparrow, the loop antenna. Does length from loop to radio equal loss of signals? Nope. You'll have you can have a pretty long cable and it's going to be okay. RJ Dakota says in the older TV shows like Outer Limits and Star Trek, there were a lot of audio special effects from the shortwave bands. How do you use the different antenna ports on the RSPDX? So you plug in the antennas, and on your SDR Uno screen, the main panel, you will see on the top main panel, there is a place where you can click and select which antenna that you want to use. It's in the main panel where you turn on, where you're going to say, yeah, turn on the radio, and because you want to listen to. Um, I actually have a video showing it on the channel. Tony says, I can see you have dents in your thumbs from pressing the encoder so hard. If you see that I get like really big muscly hands, is because I played with the deep SDR too much. So once you plug in the different antennas, like I said on the RSPDX, on the software, on the main panel of the software, you'll see there's a place where you can select antenna 1, 2, or 3. It's A, B, C. I think it's the letters they use. Yeah, man, Max 2069. The ATS 25 cannot be used as an SDR because it lacks and the bandwidth needed, definitely. Philip says MLA30 helps in a big way by nulling out the TV noise. Take care, Art. Always nice to have you here. Yeah, the way that it's the way it's designed that they can't do it on a DS25. Dan, nice to have you on board, and from Ohio and 8WJZ. Doug, is that an MFJ digital clock behind you in a chair? No, it's actually a Nextech that I purchased for cheap at Radio Shack back in the 90s. But they do have a couple that do really look like it, definitely. Oh yeah, everything does interference today, RGA Dakota. My dishwasher, when I started, there's buzzes everywhere. What else do we have? Greg, thanks for the view on the Texan H501X, medium wave, long wave FM stereo, shortwave SSB 5 and tabletop. Love my Texan H501X. Cool. It is a great radio. It is a great radio. What else do we have? Shortwave is far from being dead, I can tell you that. Yep, Mad Radio DXer. You know, think about it also as the noise or the propagation of noise. Think about it. A device that has a long power cord. That power cord is an antenna. So if that thing makes noise everywhere. Then you plug it in the wall outlet. You have all the cabling inside the walls. Well, if there's no filters, those become noise antennas. They're sending noise everywhere in every room. It's crazy. Oh yeah, the Christmas decorations are crazy, especially the ones that have blinking lights and all sorts of patterns. That's why I try to keep a lot of the analog lights. You know, I will use, like, you can maybe see them here, so you could see that along the in the window and in whoops here. These are incandescent, the good old incandescent ones from the day. They're not the new LED. They're not the new. They don't, have patterns or anything. But these are super quiet decorations. Richard Califano, nice to have you here. WA2157SWL. Speaking of scanners, there is so much to listen to. You can find local frequencies online, almost everything but police. Yeah, it's mostly the switching power supplies today that are the crazy problems. I can tell you that. Tony, what new radio is Santa gonna bring you this year? What's on your wish list at least? Would I have a wish list of a radio for Christmas? I can't say I. It's honestly one of the years where I don't know. I don't know. You know what's funny? There's that Ethon portable that was supposed to come out in December with the colorful display. We got zero news of that. I think they got burned real bad by bringing out that Ethon satellite HD that is crappy for the price that it's sold for. And now, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised they might never come out of that with that radio. Maybe they're just like, whoa, okay, we got tons of stock of a radio we can't sell. So I don't know. But I don't, there's, you know what? I got my Christmas gift um, a month and a half ago. We're in December, about a month, almost 2 months ago, which is my Yaesu FTD X10. I was actually supposed to get it. That was the idea first was to get my Yaesu FTD X10 transceiver for Christmas. It was my Christmas gift. But it came on sale, and the fact that I wanted to do ham radio more made me, and the flaws of the FT450 I have made me take that decision faster than I was supposed to. But I can't say there's anything that I look at that I want that for Christmas right now. Um, I'm gonna have to think about that. Nothing comes to mind much. KW1161 in the US, the FCC is supposed to regulate RF noise under Part 15 regulations, but you have to follow the money. Yeah. Trevor film Shortwave Ofcom in the UK don't care. VDSL noise is a pain. It's like they abandoned. They're just like, who cares? Brian Penny received an ATS 25X1 a few months ago and it was dead on arrival. I want to order another one. Is the ATX 25 Max the latest model? Yeah, you can't say it's the latest model. It's like a different firmware pretty much. The ATS 25, whatever version or it is the more I read from people buying it, the more I see um, the more I see is that it's simply a hit or miss. You can get one that works, or you can get one that's just dead. And some have encoder problems. It's almost like you're taking a chance when you get a good one. Be happy, but it's crazy. Um, Definitely a hit or miss situation on it. But the ATS 25 Max is kind of one of the latest models that has the latest firmware on it, pretty much. Yeah. What else do we have? What else? What happened to Moscow Nights? Watch an old show and you ended with that. Yeah, it's been a long time. Well, we'll end with Moscow Nights tonight. We'll be okay. Danny Shortwave, yes, that would be cool. Have an amateur radio live stream. Yeah, that would be what I'm thinking of on the VE2ZZI channel. Do a live stream of amateur radio. Maybe do operations live. Maybe try to make calls and stuff. RWC, do noise canceller devices help much? Well, I have one here. I need to test it, really. It's really because I have a hard time setting it correctly here. But I don't know. I've watched videos. I'm not convinced they're necessarily that great. Brian Penny, yes, from Cape Cod. Nice to have you here, my friend. Can I host and be a guest at the same time? I guess. I don't know. I could, yes, technically. Technically. Oh, Brian says somebody is simulcasting my live show on 6925. That is interesting. Do I hear it here? Let's check that out. Are we hearing my voice on 6925 kilohertz? That'd be interesting to see. And yeah, I hear myself. I am hearing myself. 6925 kilohertz, guys. I am being retransmitted on 6925 kilohertz. I want to thank the fantastic pirate that had this fantastic, great idea of putting me on the air. Thanks so much for doing so. And it's much appreciated. And so 6925 kilohertz upper sideband. If you guys want to try it, you should hear my voice. I just heard signal isn't too bad here in Montreal. Nice. It's been a long time since this happened, actually. Pretty cool. So what else do we have? Lex, has anyone noticed that the P990, the battery meter fluctuating when the radio is working hard? Yeah, it is normal. The battery, make sure the battery is charged to the maximum. Okay. That's why I use an outboard charger rather than using the charger within the radio itself. It seems to charge the batteries better, and get yourself a few extra batteries. But yeah, because the power amplifier is pretty strong on the 990. I like the 501. When you put the volume high, it actually draws a lot of current. So it can happen. David White says UVB 76 transmission on 4625 on shortwave radio is suspected to be used by the Russians. So yeah, it's been there. It has a lot of mysterious uses. Maybe, I don't know. Mr. X, nice to have you on board from the UK. Pretty cool, Mr. X, and happy to be there for the H501, Greg. Tony, one recent disappearance from HF after decades operating seems to be the Reflections Europe with canned American religion, which was on every Sunday afternoon, 6295. Not heard in 4 months, or 4 weeks, sorry. Sea Sparrow, I remember as a kid, my dad would wake me up in the morning to listen to Japan on his shortwave radio. Man, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Michael Andrew, nice to have you here from Illinois. Tony says Stutterbird seems to review mostly torches these days. Iron Man must be a torch fan. Yeah, you know, it's okay. I don't want to talk too much about other people. What do you do? I rather focus on giving you the good ones, like, you know, Dave Zantow's excellent reviews. Radio J Allen, pretty good reviews also. I rather give you, you know, my opinion and give you the ones that are good. Avoid talking about the ones that I don't find to be that great. Yeah, YouTube. There is that thing. YouTube, Google does take 30% of the donations. That's why PayPal is a more direct way. But yeah, you know, it still helps. You know, I mean, it's an easy way for a lot of people through the YouTube channel. So, you know, you can't complain much. I mean, you know, it's like the monetizing revenue. I mean, you know, it's shared. It's shared. What else do we have? Yeah, and you know, the PayPal is another thing also, because here it's public. So when somebody donates, it's in your face. Everybody sees the amount and everything. So it's kind of not personal. And you know, maybe some people are, you know, shy because they're going to be like, well, you know, if I give this amount, you know, everybody's going to see that my amount is smaller than others, and it's like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Even if you would donate $1, it doesn't matter the amount you donated, and that's great. But PayPal offers that privacy. It's like you can donate, nobody knows the amount except me. So it's more private, and I can understand that also. VE2FGJ Radio, thank you so much for the radio budget. I will definitely use it. Definitely use it. What else do we have? Let me try to go down here. Chuck, nice to have you on board. Francis Moore, can you send me an email address? Much appreciated. And sorry you're not bothering me at all. The email is official shortwave radio at gmail.com. And if you have problems or something and need help, just let me know. And anybody can send me, email or whatever and say hello. It might take sometimes a few days. Sometimes I go through the list. I do one dumb thing with the email sometimes. It's that I go through, I see your email, I read it, I put it there, and I'm going to answer later. And then tons of emails come in, and I forget to answer back. If that happens, I've said, you don't hesitate to say, hey, I sent you an email yesterday. Sometimes it's needed. It's not because I'm ignoring you at all. KW1161 used to receive all stations at once on the first shortwave radio, $20 Sony, SONI, not a Sony with a Y, at a local drugstore. Oh, man. King and the Extra thinks of the top 10 list, The Late Show with David Letterman on CBS from 93 to 2015. Uncle Justin, I love it when you get porky. Oh, God. Marvin Motz, nice to have you on board from the Japan Islands. David says, now that I have my Bonito multicoupler, I can use my COM CR1 as a sub receiver for my ICOM or ICR 8500. I often leave it on an HF aeronautical frequency while look for other signals with the ICOM. Yeah, that's the fun thing that I do also. Having a multicoupler is great because you want to hear something, for example, one thing that I do is I want to hear an international broadcast, say Radio Romania. Well, I'll put one radio on Radio Romania, listen to that, and while I'm listening to Radio Romania, my other radios, I tune around and try to find signals to see what else I can hear or any, number stations or whatever. It's really, really fun to have the ability to use this, multiple radios with the same antenna. John Beckham, I have always found it very entertaining to tune around 15,000 kilohertz, especially pertaining to receiving the Far East. Yeah, and each frequency range on shortwave has its own little something to look forward, and it's worth tuning around at different times of years, different times of day on each of the ranges because there's a pattern, it shifts, it changes over time. And that is really cool because it makes you listen to different parts of the world. You'll notice certain times of the year you hear Asia all the time on that frequency range, but not in another part of the year, and so on. It is really, 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 really nice to have all of those ranges to tune around and look at the shifting patterns through the year. It's really cool, and it's a nice experience. That's where you notice that longer days, shorter days. There's so much change and propagation. It's crazy, all the effects. Now that we're in the higher solar activity, what's cool also is the fact that you have the the higher frequencies are much more prevalent. I noticed doing ham radio that something that I haven't seen in years. We're in December, and when solar activity is a little higher, I noticed that 20-meter band is actually active into darkness up to like midnight. And yet, it's in the last few years, in the winter here, it was dead band at that time. So there's definitely a lot of changes in there. Wind is pretty bad. So I don't know if you guys, like I said, there's something happens. Um, what else do we have? Let's go down. So 6925 kilohertz. I'm on the radio. Thank you, Chris, letting us know also. 6925 kilohertz upper sideband. Someone is rebroadcasting my voice, apparently. So it's kind of cool. What else do we have? Josh says, big time. When my house power was redone for the first time in 70 years, all the radios were better afterwards. Definitely. There been some improvements, and that's for sure. What else do we have? So the RSPDX is at a holiday discount price of $169.95 plus shipping. So that's a pretty good price for the RSPDX. Oh, yeah. Okay. Somebody gave me an idea here. Just going back here because I saw something. I want to say hello to everybody and just trying to catch up here. There's okay. I'm too far back. I saw something here. And that, yes, could be on my list for Christmas, would be something interesting. Danny Shortwave, the Xiegu G90. I have to say that I looked at it this week and I was like, huh. So, yes, I do have a wish list, a Christmas gift that could be fun. That Xiegu G90, I'd be interested. Definitely. Very portable. And I was thinking about how cool that could be to bring along to Perry Island or whatever that I haven't been to. I haven't been to Perry Island for the first time this year. I think it's the first time this year I haven't been at all, which is kind of weird. I need to, when the weather comes back to beautiful, I need to find more time to do these things again. I miss going there, and I miss going to parks with the radios and doing stuff. But I've been so busy, my caregiving duties are so bad this year that I just didn't have time for anything. But yeah, Danny Shortwave, you just gave me the idea of maybe something that that could be my Christmas. Yeah, so your donations could go towards that. I'll be reviewing it as a receiver at the same time here on the channel. It's a nice little transceiver, not too expensive. So yeah, that could be something. Keegan DXer, the Ethon with the multicolor display was to have HD, similar design to the Grand Edition Satellite and Elite Executive. So it's going to be interesting. Live from Montreal, it's Saturday night. Yep. What about the Texan AN48X antenna? Is that good? No, forget it. That thing is dreadfully difficult to tune. You're better with an MLA30 because the AN48X, you got to tune it to the frequency you're listening to. And it's a hit or miss situation. In some frequency ranges is bad. The MLA30, no tuning, no messing around. And the MLA30 goes outside, not the AN48. Long in the tooth, I think ham radio is boring compared to shortwave radio. Too technical, too many calculations, and only to hear a couple of old guys. Yeah, but that's the thing about amateur radio. It's up to you to change that into something cool. So if you focus on just that, yeah, you'll find it boring for sure. But if you focus on getting your license and doing something, and maybe having people, I got some ideas coming up for my VA2 ZZI channel. I've been thinking of maybe doing some contact sprints with you guys, doing events. Okay, the official shortwave radio event is going to be this weekend from that time to that time, and I'll be on 20 meters. And so everybody that's a ham, come on in and let's make contacts. Let's try it, and all sorts of stuff like that. I'm thinking of all sorts of little ideas that I could um on the other channel. Not only talk about amateur radio, but let's get together and do something about it. That is something that is needed right now because yesterday we had a quick meeting. Well, the International Radio Report was recorded with a guest, which was Mickey Delmage. And we came to a part of that when we talked about how, Mickey Delmage is a voice guy. He likes SSB voice, doing contacts on HF. And I actually love that too. I'm much more a fan of SSB voice than I'm a fan of doing FT8, even if FT8 has its particularities. Okay, I can get the state word. It's a little special. So basically, yeah, a lot of the DX now is FT8 only. You get these exotic stations, and it's like, oh yeah, well, if you're not on FT8, tough luck. And I think I understand why that is, and I understand why people are attracted to FT8. But I think it's also all of us that are ham operators. It's all of us to work and there's not enough SSB voice. It's up to us to bring it back. It's up to us to do events and do things to have it stay alive also. And I plan on working on things like that with the V2 ZZI YouTube channel. Sheldon Harvey, do you QSL? Yeah, I would. Yes, I honestly, I was looking again today at ordering myself some paper QSLs. I might not send 100 a week, but yes, but why not? I will QSL. Well, for the pirate stuff, will I QSL? I'll have an EQSL. Here we go. We're gonna do something for the pirate. How about an EQSL? You guys want to have an EQSL? If you hear me, I will need a little audio clip somehow of you hearing me. And if you can do that and send it to officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com within the next couple of weeks, a little EQSL might a Christmas EQSL could be in the making. So Mickey Delmage says 6925 week in Alberta, but he hears me. Cool. Mad Radio DX UK. I was listening to you and the car live via 4G when on the way home a couple of weeks ago. I thought to myself, Gilles really needs a radio show on a good station. Doug 6925. They are cloning Gilles. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's been a long time. I don't remember last time somebody did that, but it's been a long time. Francis, I was going to subscribe to Practical Wireless, but I'm a bit worried as the new sets will be reviewed and I may burn a hole in my pocket. That's always a danger, That's always a danger. Danny Shortwave, I can hear you on 6925 upper sideband with my Grundig 800 connected to NFED antenna. K6SUD, nice to have you on board. And there's also some music apparently, so probably there could be a couple of pirates at the same time. Marvin Motz, I agree with Long and Toot. Ham radio should not be an old farts club with geezers talking. Yeah. And that's up to us to change that, honestly. It's up to us to change that. Ron C, nice to have you on board from Saint-Hubert. Dunn's smoked meat sandwich. Now, that's not bad at all. What's my dream receive antenna? Hooked 911. Look, if I had the possibility to do it, I'd have one of those big, fancy, amateur radio antennas. I fancy more. If you would ask me what I would fancy more, rather than a fancy antenna, I'd rather have lower noise, honestly. So, Sea Sparrow, it's 6925, not 6250 shortwave. It's 6925, 6925 upper sideband. Tony, which multi-coupler would you recommend? Look, I don't know what to say here. There are much cheaper ones that work probably great. The one I have is a Streetsburg multi-coupler. I made a video on it. They are dreadfully amazing, but they are expensive. Although the one I have is active, they have passive ones that are less expensive, but they are very high quality. Streetsburg's engineering multi-couplers. Now I wish I would have chosen the one with 8 ports rather than 4, because sometimes it happens that I'm like, oh, I got to choose which radio is going to be plugged in. So, but that's the one but you know what? There's going to be um, something. Yeah, that's another way, like Master Players Radio and Television. If you upload the video of you hearing me on the pirate frequency of 6925, don't forget to because I'll need to have an email if I don't have it already from you. But I'll be sending off a EQSL. Sheldon says December CIDX electronic bulletin just about ready to be sent out to CIDX members. And don't forget, if you want to join the club, have our messenger bulletin. I do the utility column. Mickey Dalmich does the QSL column. Eric Cottrell, that is not here tonight, but is often in the chat room, has the ham radio column. There's some really good information in that. You can have a sample copy if you want, sample at cidxclub.ca. Only if you never asked for before. Why not join and have a great source of information with the electronic publication? Yeah, Pirates Sea Sparrow are much weaker than standard transmission. So if it's a little noisy or very noisy where you are, it's possible you don't hear it. That's where an external antenna will help a lot. What else do we have? Let me go down here. Hooked 911. Can I use RG6 for 150-foot run on a cross-country wireless loop instead of RG8X? For receive, it's probably going to be fun. Jetcrafter, pirate on 6935 upper sideband. And here receiving it in Maine, Connicom GP7 with MLE30. Laura Robinson, nice to have you on board from Italy, KO4DFJ. Nice to have you here. Matt, I think I'm hearing music on 6925 now. I think I still hear Gilles too. Possibly two pirates at the same time. Jeff, New Hampshire, if you didn't want to use a long wire with a vertical antenna on a roof, be a good option. Vertical antenna is, in some circumstances where you don't have a lot of space, and that's a possibility, it could be okay. The problem with a vertical is that it will receive noise equally everywhere. So because it has the same sensitivity all around. So it's a little more difficult to manage in noisy environments. It could do the job, but a wire is more interesting because you can make it much longer, and you can also maybe try to position it where there's less noise. But it depends on the noise around you, for sure. Sheldon Harvey, Jill, if you play the audio over the YouTube show, you'll go into an endless loop of and our heads might explode. That'd be interesting. The loop of myself. That'd be one moment here, guys. Taking the time to actually flag the bad stuff. So yeah, Xigu G90. That okay. That's on my list. That's on my list. Totally. I was looking at it this week, man. It was so tempting. But at the same time, I was like, come on, you just bought a $2,000 radio. Don't, take it easy. Take it easy, man. But I got to say, I was looking at it and I have read the reviews, many reviews of it. I've read, I know that Thomas Witherspoon, a Short of Listening post, is a big fan of it. He loves his. So I'm like, okay, maybe that could be another ham radio gift. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Maybe the amount of donations are going to kind of help me in the right direction. We're gonna see. It's the problem of like not being rich. It's like, yeah, well, there's only so many radios that I can actually purchase at a certain price. You got to take it easy. Doug says my Christmas wish is to build a custom medium wave, FM, shortwave, and XM satellite radio, all in one boombox using a kit and an XM Sirius home kit. Huh, interesting. Hook 911, you should buy airtime and get on shortwave. I would listen. Yeah, for that, there need to be funding. There would have to be some regular funding because spending money on airtime, I would love that. Honestly, I would love to rent, some airtime on some transmitters like WRMI and have a show. Marvin Watts, amateur radio can be a crucial revolutionary tool, and already preppers are a major group getting ham license. Dwayne, I think there's a Pirate 6925 upper sideband that I don't have good copy. Yep. One apparently is broadcasting my voice. Madrid DXer have noticed during the 6-meter openings that there is hardly any voice. They're all FT8. Yep. No, it's not you. It's not you. When I have 6-meter openings, I have tons of FT8, very few voice single sideband, very few. So but it's like that on many bands. I've noticed, for example, that even though 10-meter SSB is open every day, there's a handful of hams, but there's dozens and dozens of hams on FT8. A3IEK. Yep, I was thinking about some kind of mix like that also for the Xiegu G90 to have a battery that has enough capacity for going to going to Perry Island with it or something. Sea Sparrow, what's a QSL? A QSL is it's kind of like a postcard or it's a verification way of like it's like an EQSL is often a picture with information about the frequency time that you listen to some broadcast. It's an acknowledgement that you received a transmission. So radio stations in the past had paper QSLs they would send out, which would be a paper card that you would receive. And I don't know if I have an example here close by, but they were often beautiful pictures on the front, like a postcard. In the back, you would have all the details of the time, the date, the frequency you'd listen to a transmission. And it's kind of a proof that you heard that station. So today we have EQSLs, and the EQSLs are the electronic equivalent. So I'll be sending out, like a picture, but in which it will have your name and the frequency and time that you were listening to me as on 6925, for example. David White, do they still sell the stamps to get a QSL cards like they did when I was a kid? I don't get what you mean exactly by the stamps to get the QSL cards. Like 2112, most folks don't think about amateur until a disaster. Yeah, definitely. Long in the tooth. Okay, let's liven up ham radio. I'm licensed, but find it too boring to bother. Yeah, that's why we all have a responsibility to do something about it. If you have your license, you have a responsibility, if you find it boring, to make it unboring. So find a way to do it. Find people that are AM licensed operators that might also find it boring and do something about it. Honestly, and that's what I plan to do too. I plan to do, we'll dabble on everything. And when I when I add a live show about ham radio, yeah, there will be, you know, uh, there will be, because there's popular demand for it. There will be shows of, hey, let's FT8 today, even if you don't like it, because we got to dabble on everything. But we will have, hey, let's liven up this thing and make, some interesting meetup with single sideband and even some other digital modes, even slow scan television stuff. I think that's going to be cool. That's one other thing that I want to do. Slow scan TV, I think, is the next fun thing that I want to try. Do some slow scan TV, and I'll let you guys know about it, because you guys can decode the slow scan TV pictures. WFG59, welcome to the party. What else do we have? Man Radio DXer is going to try outdoors to get 6925. Josh, I want to go on ham and talk about prostate issues now. E3IEK, also like to see you get into Parks on the Air at some point. Yep. Perry Island. Perry Island, we could hand that. Perry Island is Park is on the Air. Definitely. The funny thing is there's also the islands on the air. I am already on an island. Montreal is an island. I could participate as a islands on the air in Montreal. Mr. X, Jill, what's your dream HF transceiver? Mine's the ICOM 7610. I can't say I have a dream one. And I think, honestly, my Yaesu FTD-X10 is kind of pretty much my dream transceiver. It is all I want. Yes, there are definitely those really high-end, crazy radios that if I'd be a millionaire, I'd probably get. But I'm happy with what I have, honestly. So, and I think everybody should be at that level too. Be happy with what you have. It's sometimes we look at the more expensive stuff. Sometimes we forget that, what you have is already pretty good. How about, instead of looking at that, looking at maybe something around it that you haven't thought of that could be a better way to invest money to improve what you have, and enjoy what you have. It's very important to do that. I see some guys on the air with, radios they've had for 30 years, and they like them, and they have no desire to buy a new one, and it's fine. If your Kenwood from the 1980s is still an amazing transceiver for you and works well, why go into something new? Sometimes we have to scale down and look back and say, you know what, I got something great. I've got something great here. Okay. What else do we have? Go down. Canadian Radio TV guys, someone dialing the phone over voice with some music. So no problem, Canadian Radio TV guy. David Snyder, is the GMT time 22:54 or 23:54? Just joined. Well, right now it's 23:04 as I'm answering your question, but it was 22:54 when you asked for it. ManMax 2069, here the pirate reading reception reports right now. So don't hear Gilles. So it could be that I'm not on the air anymore. Also, he might have just put a part of the show. Sometimes that's what they do, and then they go back into their standard programming. But it's cool. It's cool, Sea Sparrow, yeah, I have a whole spool of cable wire in my basement. No 6925 for Mad Reader DXer. Francis, more towards your new schedule so you can get up to the mountains. No noise. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Now you guys put me in the mood for a new radio now. You know, it's okay. I mean, how many of you guys are complaining that I'm making you guys spend too much money on radio? So it's kind of normal that the other way around happens too. Okay. George Ferguson. What would be the one radio you would take with you? If it's like Desert Island Radio, basically. I would probably. I mean, I I would take a portable because portable operation is probably the best. I don't know. I'd take something like a. It depends the setup also that I have available, how it would be. Um, I might end up bringing the Yaesu FTDX10 basically, but for a portable or something, I'd probably take you know, the Texan H501 or Texan PL990 or something like that. Barry Zoll, MLA30 is probably your best bet, I would say. No, I can't say I have any opinions of Hook 911 on that. John Beckham, welcome to Gilles' World of Shortwave Radio, where he covers it all over the planet, indeed. Jim Gordon tried 6925 via the SDR and Holland, not there. Start a GoFundMe with the Shortwave channel going. Yeah, we could check that out. It's difficult to have a standard and continuous funding for things like that. Look at Mighty KBC. How many times? Log 2112, thank you for the donation. KM4OOS, Sam radios are the cool radios anyway. Got a license. It's a cool club. So, yeah, some people are happy listening, though, and we got to respect that. A lot of people have no desire to go on ham radio. But now that I'm licensed, I have to say that it is fun. And I didn't do it before. I probably should have done it before. Get my ham license. Oh, the IRCs, my stamps mentioned the IRCs. Okay, McAdelmage. Yeah. The IRCs, the international reply coupons. I think most places don't have those anymore. I don't think we have them here in Canada, anyways. But boy, I still remember there were so little people using them that I still remember. Sorry, guys. I still remember going there and they had no clue of what I was asking for. It was like nobody knew. Nobody knew. What's that? New tab. Yeah, they still have them. Coupons that we purchase. Okay. So they're still available. They're still selling some. Wow. I remember they were dreadfully expensive back in the day. I'd be curious to know how much one costs today. Beam C bike for an afternoon out with the G90. I use a 6 amp hour, 258 grams. Not too bad. Not too bad. So, international reply coupons. Now I get it. Yeah. Marvin Motz recently did a radio physics experiment at 30 meters and intend to publish it in a physics journal. Can I send you a summary of what I found? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Definitely. Sea Sparrow, that would be cool to get a paper version of a QSL. I still put posters on my wall where I try to build models. Richard Wagner, can you trust AliExpress? It's a mixed bag. What I understand of AliExpress is that a lot of people get their stuff. Um, what I understand is a lot of people complain they never got their stuff. And what I understand is having a refund is a very, very difficult task. But look, they must be not too bad if you consider that they've been selling stuff for such a long time and they're selling a lot of things. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that they have it's like eBay having tons of sellers. eBay is, you got to look at the sellers and how much stuff they sold, and can you trust the seller before you actually send them the money? And it's a little bit the same way. I think they're stuck with some sellers maybe not doing the right stuff. There's definitely sellers that are trying to screw everybody out. It's got to be careful. I would maybe buy something on AliExpress that's not too expensive, but I would not buy an expensive gear there. That's for sure. Doug says, I'd like to hear where the hams broadcast from. The technical stuff is not as interesting to me. Yeah, because it depends what you're looking for. The technical stuff is it depends. Like, I'm a guy, an electronics guy, and so on. So I do find it fascinating for the technical aspect, but I know it's not everybody's you know fun, and there's a lot of there's a lot um of people out there that are ham operators but don't really care about the technical aspect of it. So let's say Heriberto Almonte, nice to have you here. Toolbrook Tim, if the polar ice cap melts, you'll be under the island. Yeah, here in Montreal, we're actually, if it would, if I think the predictions is if all of the ice melts, Montreal's under. Man Max says finally found an SDR that he can hear me. Artist Alleycrafter's Kitchen have heard some hysterical prostate rag chewing on 160 meter before. Wonders never cease to amaze. EA3IEK, I have the Yaesu FT990, an ICOM IC7100, Alinco DR735 for local 2 meter 70 centimeter QSOs, and very satisfied with this. Cool. So, yeah, ARCs. What's for my dinner? I have no idea. And the longer this is going to go on, the more it's going to be like ordering from restaurant food. Something. I'm kind of, there's part of me that's like, pizza would be good. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see. Take care, Francis. Stay safe. Always nice to have you on board. Jörg from Germany. Nice to have you here. We have ManMax 2069. There's an SDR in St. Paul, Minnesota that can pick up the pirate that rebroadcast Jules. So still on, apparently. Still on. Thank you so much for whoever is broadcasting, for whoever knows that world of broadcasting. Hook 911, a good antenna system is more important than an expensive radio. Oh, definitely. Definitely. What else do we have? Let me just look at it here. Not too much dead time because I'm forgetting that I'm being rebroadcast. If I don't talk, nothing happens on the air. George Ferguson, nice to have you here and happy to reply. MDK2, mixed blessing regarding Mighty KBC's move to WRMI. I like that they're staying around, but hate the new time frequency they'll be on. Yeah. There's also a new broadcast coming up. Radio Indonesia is going to be relayed by WRMI, but at a weird time, like at 08 in the UTC, which is like middle of the night, which is kind of weird. But at least it'd be cool to have more of those relays. Indonesia. Let's have more of these international broadcasts on WRMI. It's kind of cool though. Josh, I want to do the whole thing Morse code, even though you don't have to. Yeah, I actually will be doing it too. Skip is going to be reviewing a set of CDs and books for learning Morse code, and he's graciously sending me that package. So I plan on learning CW. I would like to dabble in Morse code also. It'd be fun. Aerial imaging, thank you so much for the tip. And yeah, the Belka could be another. A lot of you have been asking me for, why don't you order a Belka? It'd be fun to have your take on it. So that's another one that could be interesting. Definitely. Ricky says there's no information about how to get one. Yeah, usually it's at the post office, but I mean, wow. I thought they didn't have that anymore, honestly. Danny Shortwave says I bought a few radios and other stuff on AliExpress over the past few years. Never had any issues with them. So, I guess it's like every service, like eBay and so on. And even Amazon, when you order from like the Deep SDR 101 that I ordered on Amazon, but it comes from a Chinese seller. So they're probably in the same kind of situation of you got to deal with the fact that the person on the other end should be technically sending you the stuff. So, Tim Ostrowski, getting an IRC through Canada Post can be challenging. I tried sending a parcel to Labrador, and they thought that Labrador was not in Canada, but an international address. Oh God, this is good. sending something to Labrador, and they think it's not in Canada. Youch. That tells you the level of knowledge of some people working at Canada Post. Robert Cross, I'm not yet set, but there's a good chance that Christmas Eve will be a live show. Scott, KC2C80, 3 questions in my QSOs. Where are you? How's the weather? Most important is how's the fishing? Sea Sparrow, can you hear 6925? You mean on different meters? I'm confused on the meters 20, 30, 100. No, the meters go with the frequency you're tuning. So every frequency you tune has a wavelength. They're tied together. It's a physics law. So when you're tuned to the pirate on 6925, you're close to what is 40 meters. 6925 is simply the wavelength close to 40 meters. And so you can't change the meters. The meters change the frequency also. 10 meters is, it's actually, if you want to do a quick, what meters is the frequency I'm tuned to? 300,000 divided by the frequency in kilohertz. So if you take 300,000 divided by 6,925, it would give you a number that is the wavelength or the meters. So meter band and meters are tied to the frequency. They go together. It's a different way of giving a frequency range or a frequency you're tuned to. So for example, take the calculator here. Calculator. not calendar, calculator. So if I take 300,000, so 300,000 divided by 6,925, which is the frequency of the pirate, it's 43.3 meters. Simple as that. So 10 meters technically is 30 megahertz or 30,000 kilohertz, because 300,000 divided by 30,000 is 10, and so on. So the meter band goes with the frequency. It's not something that is independent of the frequency you're tuned. They go hand in hand together, because every radio frequency has a wavelength. That's how people will sometimes calculate the length of an antenna. Why are antennas specific length? Because that's going to match the wavelength or the meters that are tied to the frequencies you're going to use. So hope it's clear enough. What else do we have? Mad Reader DX UK found a Kiwi SDR that gets 6925 in Charlottesville. What else do we have? And by the way, they're not stupid questions. They are good questions. In when you don't know it. Matt says I can try recording Indonesia relay, see how that sounds here. Yeah, they're going to be on 7780, I believe, at 08, somewhere like at 08 UTC. We're going to talk about it tomorrow on the International Radio Report, actually. So it's the frequency goes hand in hand with the frequency with the meter bands. KW1161 waiting for his Belka that he ordered a couple of weeks ago for expanded range. George Ferguson, what do you think of the Yaesu VX8 submersible FM transceiver? It's an old radio, but I think it's good. I don't know much about it, but it's pretty much everything Yaesu makes is in general pretty good. So like I said, Sea Sparrow, no, you couldn't pick up that frequency on 90 meters because 90 meters is a different frequency. So 90 meters, you'd be at 3 megahertz or something around there, or 3,000 kilohertz. Take care, Ricky. Yeah, timer recording for Radio Indonesia, that's for sure. It's simply a Sea Sparrow. This comes from the old days. The old days. It comes from the fact that for a long, long time, frequencies on some radio broadcasts were given in meters. I remember, for example, that back in the 80s, sometimes you'd listen to Radio Moscow and they would say we're on 33.6 meters and 25.4 meters and so on. And that was the frequencies they were transmitting on. They were just giving it in meters. And old radios, a lot of old radios. So that kind of kept. So today's radios, like the Texans, often a lot of them have that. They're going to tell you the meter band you're tuned to when you're listening to a frequency. And this is important in a way because still today we kind of talk about a band in meters. So, for example, I'll often say, oh, there's a lot of signals on 19 meters. Well, 19 meters is 15 megahertz. It's 15,000 to 15,000, 800 kilohertz. And so there is that relation is still exists today. So learning the meters is not a bad idea because you'll always know what frequency to tune when somebody mentions what meter band you're listening to. So, for example, in amateur radio, it's almost only that. Amateur radio, I'm going to say, I was like, example, I made 3 contacts on 10 meters today. Why? Because that's the way we talk in the amateur radio world. We mention the bands as their meter bands simply. I could have said I made 3 contacts on the 28 megahertz band. Yeah, that would have worked, of course. But we kind of have that habit of we just say it in meter bands. So knowing the meter band is not a bad idea because it helps you know where to tune in case somebody will tell you, um, you know, that if somebody says, "Oh, there's an amateur radio station in Poland on 20 meters," well, at least you'll know where to tune. You'll know you're going to go to 14 megahertz. Um, what else do we have? Take care, Ricky. Toujours un plaisir. What else do we have? Aerial imaging recently got into third generation Belka, so currently have the two. I have two. I could offer a good price on the Belka in great condition if you want to order one from North America. Yeah, that could be interesting. Aerial imaging. I wouldn't say no. Send me an email. We'll check it out. Tibor Ostrowski, my wife is amused, Joe. Once you said that radios can be sexy, and now you're saying that CW or Morse code is fun. She don't get it at all. It's all in the eye of the beholder. Hey, come on. You don't want to. I need someone to help me learn CW or Morse code. She won't help me? Oh, man. RJ Dakota outside and hearing my program on 6925 kilohertz. Still going on. Strong. Pretty cool. Sea Sparrows, got it. Maybe that confuses people like myself when they first get into this. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, it's common that there's so many of these things that can make people a little lost in the shortwave world and the radio world in general. I can tell you that. So RGA Dakota Radio Australia used to always announce their frequencies in both kilohertz and meters. Yep. Sea Sparrow says his wife is from Indonesia. Oh, cool. N6RLS checking in again. We'll listen in playback soon. Had long phone call. Got a ham question. Is keyboard CW a bad thing? No. If you mean it by sending it by computer, I have no problem with that personally. If you send it by computer, it's fine. As long as you can decode it well. That's the other thing, though. It's difficult to have CW done computer only because human sent CW is often not decoded well with a PC. So that might be the challenge. I think it is better to really be capable of truly decoding CW the best possible way with your head listening to it. But as far as if you do understand and are capable of decoding CW manually without any problems, I got no problem with using a computer to send it instead of using a key, for example. I got no problem with that. Some might, I don't. Mark Kidd, WM9K, nice to have you on board. Nice to have you here. And 6RLS, thanks. Been hamming with a 6-watt radio and an indoor 20-meter dipole. Actually works better than expected. That's surprising sometimes when propagation is good. And thank you, Matt, for sharing the broadcast bands. It's kind of useful to know them because sometimes, even today, like the BBC World Service will say, "Oh, we'll be on the 13-meter band or 16-meter band." You know where to tune when that happens. Mad Max 2069 says if there was a second rebroadcast of your live show from a pirate, the universe might not be able to handle it. Oh man. What else do we have? Vestley, remain filled with toys. Surreal. KWLM61. Okay. WA4AOS from South Carolina. Nice to have you here. And what else do we have? Checking it out. And I'm down the chat again. And so this is Ghoul. And 6RLS. I haven't given up on actually learning CW. I'm just a very slow learner. Yeah, take the time. Because the problem with CW, unlike a digital mode, when you use digital modes, the computers can decode easily the digital modes, and it's okay. The problem is that if CW is different because it's sent by a human most of the time, so somebody at a key will be keying, and humans aren't, some are better than others, but humans aren't, totally accurate in their speed. Computers, on the other hand, are very accurate in what they want and what they need. So the decode side on a computer of CW is often not very nice. It's better on some than others, but it's not always very nice. So you better take the time to learn it and be sure that when you actually receive the CW signal, you can your brain can process it and you can actually write it down or know what it's saying. Your brain is way better at decoding CW than any computer actually. Mark Kid W9 M9K says in the process of learning code now at about 13 to 15 words per minute. Learning it takes a while and patience. It's like learning a language. It's the same thing. You do not speak Spanish in 3 days if you never did before. Same with Morse code. You're learning a language. You're not going to learn Morse code. I have a very basic Morse code hearing. If it sends slow on, sometimes I'll just like really concentrate and I'll be able to hear the call sign of the station and the ham bands, for example, without using anything. So, or if it's not all the call, I'll be like, oh, this is a kilo 9 something. So it's from the US. I'll have the grasp of where it possibly is from. So, but it's a process. It's a learning curve, and you gotta be in there, and slowly learn it. So the other thing about it is you can have fun doing it all live. Also, W1AW, the ARRL station, has daily CW text that they send every night to have you decode, something and have you learn code. And that could be a fun thing because it's, a real radio signal you're hearing on a radio. They broadcast on every amateur band. So there's often one that actually makes it. And every night they have different speeds that they go to. And depending on the day, some days are fast code speeds, some days are very slow. And they often send out text from the QST magazine. So you can use that to slowly learn your code. It's a fun way because you're actually learning by listening to a real radio signal in CW. Deraldo Radios. Nice to have you here. Matt says it's a good point because ham and broadcast bands sometimes overlap. 41 meter broadcast band and 40 meter ham band, both covering 72, 7300, though defined by different regions in the world. Yep. So, Sea Sparrow, the other night I heard a girl broadcasting numbers. A spy? Possible. In Spanish, you probably heard the Cuban lady, which is fairly easy to pick up in North America. Man Max says, man, can't pick up the pirate on any of the Ohio-based SDRs, and Ohio must be in the dead zone. RGA Dakota used to receive the Deutsche Welle radio RSA in a 75-meter band. Yeah, it's like receiving a radio RSA in 11 meters. That's kind of an interesting one. So, hey, guys, it's been a lot of fun today. And, we're going to try to check it out for probably a Christmas Eve show is going to be the one. that the that'd be fun, I guess, and a lot of you would probably you know um, enjoying that and having fun. So I think that's going to be cool. Greg, you should get your hand license. That'd be great, actually. So it's a lot of fun today. As we had some great questions, we had some really really cool fun moments. Thanks everybody for the donations. By the way, I'll be looking into what it's going to go towards for radio. Once again, I think we should all, for those that missed it at the beginning or mid show, we had Elizabeth, that is um, Robert Varner. Welcome aboard, KC2TEL. We have Elizabeth that was in Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, that passed away. Her daughter, Sophia, wrote a email this morning. I got it this morning, where she mentions that she wanted to thank us all for being amazing people, and at the same time thank me, because in the difficult times when she was sick, it was my live shows were great for that. So for everybody that remember Elizabeth from Regina, she passed away on the what date did I say earlier? It was the 29th, I think, of November. So let's end with a little something that I was asked earlier. How about that, guys? You want to hear the Moscow Nights? Let's end with a good old song from the days of Radio Moscow. And let's check out Moscow Nights. I think it's going to be cool to end. Number 27. Thanks, Miki Dalmage. I didn't have the email in front of me, and it's like 29, 27. So thank you, 27. Thank you so much, guys. So Moscow Nights to end the show, and to for some of us, give us a sense of the good old days of shortwave and Radio Moscow. So thanks again, guys, for being here. Always nice to be here. Still don't know what I'm going to eat for supper. We're going to check that out. Moscow Nights, Radio Moscow. And we're just going to put this on. We're just going to put this here. So here we go. Take care, guys. Love you all. Stay safe. Definitely. We dedicate this song to the Moscow Nights, to Elizabeth. And she probably listened to Radio Moscow in the days when she started shortwave. Just have positive thoughts. Not hearing the music? Is it there? Don't hear the music. Wait a minute. Why is that? Why is that? Let me check that out here. Why is it not? No music? That is weird. That is weird. Could no music? Could YouTube have changed something? You guys hear me, right? 1, 2. Yeah. Do you guys hear me? Okay. But there's no music. That's weird. It's on the same output. I don't get it. So let me just make sure that all the outputs are correct. Maybe that is where Okay, speaker output. Yeah. That is weird. I don't get it. Maybe because, let me do it from another. And do it from another browser. Maybe that's why it doesn't work. And you guys let me know if it works. It'd be sad that Radio Moscow Nights. We'll do it from Microsoft Edge browser instead. Okay. Are you hearing the music now? I had to use another browser. Okay. Take care, guys. Just dance. Radio Moscow on 6925. Take care, everybody. So apparently 6925, you can hear the song playing. And look, guys, there's another ending. Paul the Cat was here for you guys just at the ending. Yes, I do wear pants on the show. Always. You never know. Never know what could happen. Take care, everybody. Love you all. Stay safe.